to this hole for like a couple weeks. And eventually, like, it came to the point where I was just like blowing money. I didn't have any money anymore to use. And when I started doing this, I was like, wait a minute, I'm doing something totally wrong because I just keep losing money, losing money, losing money. And this is not really taking me where I need to go. I want to make money, but it's not taking me there. So eventually, I became fixated on saving money because I was like, I keep losing it. I need to learn how to save it. And this was like before, or this was like, I took a break and then I was like, okay, let me start saving my money. So I was on YouTube on like how millionaires save money, how wealthy people save money, all these different things. And it took me down this route of like the standard, oh yeah, save $5 every week. And I was like, bro, this is not gonna get me to where I need to be. It was like, yeah, save that for the next 30 years. And I was like, yeah, I don't have 30 years. So eventually what I started to do was I just started pinching everything. I was working one job, which was a warehouse job, because when I was 18, I quit my fast food job at 18. I told myself I would never go back to fast food. And I got a staffing company to give me a warehouse job. So at 18, I was working a good, $15 an hour warehouse job. And that's what kind of helped me get that money to even trust me. I would have never had $500 with those fast food jobs. I had like maybe 200 after my checks. So as I'm doing this, I start to save up. I start to save up, but I still fall back into that bad habit of like, oh, I saved up 900, but I can use that 900 right now to see if I can, make it work on a trade. And I just remember one day putting $900 in, and I was like, oh, I think it's gonna go up. I think it's gonna go up. And I just remember 9:30 putting in that whole buy for my whole account to $900. I saved up 3 weeks for it. And I was just like, it's gonna go up. I feel like it's gonna go up. Man, like 9:34, I kid you not, I had $0 in that. Like literally 4 minutes later. And I was just like, bro, I'm just doing the same shit. But I remember doing that, and then the following day, me and my mom got into this huge argument because she needed help with bills, but I didn't have no money left over. And my mom was like, where's your money going? Because I didn't tell my mom I traded. I didn't tell my mom I traded for the longest time. Even when we got into arguments, she knew I was still looking at charts, but she didn't know I was trading. So it was like, when we did get into that whole argument, I told her that I was trading, and she told me to quit. She told me to go back to school and do X, Y, and Z, go get a city job, this and that. But that whole $5 experience for me kind of showed me that I have like a sense of enjoyment from trading, even though I didn't know what I was doing. I kind of had like a burning desire to seek more. Like I wanted to seek more information in it. So it was like, I had like a burning desire inside of me to just, see how far I could get with it, right? So as I'm doing all this, and me and my mom got into that heated argument, I told myself, well, I keep blowing my money from the job that I have. So what I would do is I'll pick up 2 jobs, right? I've worked 2 jobs before. It's not that hard. Yeah. I worked 2 part-time jobs before, not 2 full-time jobs. So now I have 2 full-time jobs. I have, well, I guess you could say 8 hours is full-time, right? Yeah. So I had one 12-hour shift and then I had an 8-hour shift. So really like one that was like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So the whole 12 hours. And then I have Walmart, which was 10 p.m. all the way back until 7 a.m. in the morning. And just doing all this, I was telling myself in my head, I know this shit is going to be hard, but I need to use one job for my mom and helping with bills and just life. But I also need to use this other one for trading. And I need to make sure that as I'm doing this, I make sure I'm staying frugal because I can even put both checks together and have a lot of money saved up. So at this point, I started being more frugal. I literally walked to work, 2 hours to work. I would wake up at 4 a.m. and when I traded stocks, the market actually opens at 4:30, 4 o'clock pre-market. So that's when that's kind of like how we have Asian session, London session. It's kind of the same way when it comes in and bleeds into New York. It's the same thing. So, or let's say London session coming into New York. That's like the pre-market almost. It's just an hour before because London opens at 3 p.m. EST. What time does it open here? 2:30. So yeah, so pre-market for the US would be 3:30, right? So as that, I would wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, do my analysis, set my alerts, and I would walk to work, 2 hours to work. Get there by 6:30, 7 o'clock, clock in and throughout my whole day. Now, the reason why I brought up the 4 a.m. wake up schedule is because I had like a goal in mind of what I needed to do. I just needed a routine. So the routine I ended up creating myself was I needed to wake up in the morning. I used to go on small runs. I wouldn't tell you I was out there running now, but I would literally just run down the street, run back to kind of wake me up. And I kind of did that. And I never watched YouTube videos to like give me that motivation. It's just something in me that told me that I need to like stay active and stay moving based on like what I was already doing. So I would run in the morning, come back, take a shower, look at my charts, look at my analysis, and I was trading stocks. So it was pretty much trying to find what was going to be the next head capitalist or catalyst to basically what is everybody talking about? And in simple terms, what is everybody talking about? I use Twitter a lot. Twitter is still good when it comes to trading stocks, trading pretty much anything, right? Now, I wouldn't go blindly into picking up anything and everything that everybody's doing, but Twitter's a good space to have, news and all types of different information provided to you. So I would wake up, find some type of stock that everybody's talking about, do my analysis, set my alerts. And I'm still to this day, 5 years in, a strong believer in alert. Because as we are traders, I don't want you to get into a habit of thinking that the more time you spend on the charts is the better you're gonna get, because that's never gonna be the case. And as I did this, I went through pretty much all my trading career setting those alerts, but having that same routine, wake up in the morning, 4 a.m., and then kind of like progress my day through. And if my trade alert hit throughout the day, I'll pull out my phone, place the trade. I would already have my analysis in my head. So it took me like 2 seconds to play stop loss and TP, and then put my phone back in my pocket and progress my day. And this is pretty much, I'm not gonna go all the way far too, but this just to show that my whole trading career was based off of kind of learning from myself. And just like even when I was homeless, I didn't put my own like cards as playing victim to myself. Like I didn't want to play victim. Even though I was dealt bad cards when I was 16, I didn't let it, disturb what I had to do. So I ended up, calling and contacting my mom, moved in with her. That was a blessing to even that happening, but it would have never happened if I would have just played victim the whole time and just fell to suicide or something. And even when I moved in with my mom, seeing that we was in a bad spot, she was a single mom trying to take care of 3 kids and herself. I didn't put that in my head of like, oh, like I should feel pity. I kind of got myself to work and put myself in a position where I could progress from there. And then also, as I started to progress in life and having friends and different family members, even when after I'm profitable, I didn't let that disturb me from getting to where I have to go. So to get into what all I have to say, I want to first start off what I was talking about earlier about time. I used to be a person that used to think that if you spent 20 hours on the chart, that's how you're going to get better. And what I had to learn was trading is something we want to see freedom, right? We all want freedom from trading. We all want to be able to place a trade, close it by the end of the day, end of the week, whatever the case might be, and that's it, right? But a lot of people are hopping into trading, and I was like, everything that I tell you is something I've been through. In the beginning, I used to think that sitting on the charts was the way I was going to get better. But trading is about the decisions you make, right? A decision should not take you 15 hours to make, right? That doesn't make any sense. When it comes to trading, your decisions should be sharp, they should be fast, but also wise. So if we are trying to get better at trading, wouldn't it make sense to make our decision-making skills better? Wouldn't it make sense to make our mindset towards different scenarios better? So that way, when scenarios do come up, we can make a good decision based off of it. And it took me even till pretty much last year to really understand this, because even in the beginning, I would still make dumb decisions and dumb mistakes just based off how I felt, or just because, oh, it's taking too long for this trade, so I'm gonna just place a trade just because. I still make mistakes to this day. And even then, when I was a beginner trader, I used to always think that time was going to be the determining factor to my success or determining factor to how much money I made. But as I started to see, my decisions played a big role. And that leads me into the next part. When it comes to trading, don't think that the markets is after you, right? The markets, for one, it doesn't care about anything like, and I know you heard this on YouTube, but the markets doesn't care about anything that you have going on at all. I saved up 3 weeks for that $900 and the market took it in 4 minutes. It's not like I can contact customer support and be like, yo, bro, I didn't even mean to place that trade, bro. Like, my fingers slipped. I didn't even mean it. Can you just like send me my 900? But you can't do that, right? It doesn't care, right? You could be, 2 days late on rent and put all your rent money in there and be like, yo, I need to make this work. The markets will take it from you, like literally take it from you. So as I say this, when you make mistakes, when you take losses, when you are losing or on a losing streak, don't look at the markets because of it. It's not the markets, right? You're the person that has to make the decision to place the trade, right? I have to place the trade. You have to place the trade. So if you're winning or losing, you're the person that had that decision to have that outcome. You made that decision to have that outcome. So as I say this, everything that you do, you need to look back at yourself. Whenever you place a trade, whenever you take a win, whenever you take a loss, look back at yourself because of it. Don't look at the markets because the markets is only doing what it has to do based off orders and different money levels and all types of things like that. It's doing what it has to do. You're just trying to figure out what it's gonna do, right? And that goes into my next part. Trading is, I look at it as communication, right? I tell people all the time, treat trading like it's a new language, right? Trading is very new to us. When we open it up, it was very new to us. I don't speak Spanish, but if I go to a Spanish country, somebody starts speaking Spanish, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It's the same way when we open trading, be like, what the hell are we looking at? But I bet now, if you've been trading for a year, 6 months, maybe even 3 months, you start getting recognizing like, oh, this is what that is, this is what this is, and you start getting familiar with it. So I look at trading the same way as language. Some people might learn a language in 1 month. Some might learn Spanish in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year. It might take you 10 years to learn Spanish. You never know. So I always tell people all the time, treat it like a language, right? You might be a fast learner. You might pick it up in a month. You might pick it up in 6 months. You might pick it up in a year. But everybody's time is always going to be different. And with that being said, the more you start to understand the language, you're going to start to see that the words never change, right? English is a hard language because you have different slang. But let's say back to Spanish, they have slang, but let's just kind of say they only use their original language, right? There's always going to be same sentence structure. There's always going to be the same, literally the same sentence structure, the same words, right? Nothing's changing. So it's the same way as the market. The market is always going to have the same structure. Right? You're going to be wrong, right? Most likely going to be wrong. Your goal is to learn what to, your goal is to learn what to do so you're not wrong. And that's pretty simple, literally self-explanatory. But a lot of people get into the game thinking that they cannot lose, or that they're better than the market, or they're way smarter, right? The market's going to communicate to you at a kindergarten level, right? Because we're adults, 18 years old to trade, yeah, 18 years old to trade. And we already been through high school, college, right? So we're already thinking trading needs to be more complex as it is. Because us as adults, we think things should be complex because that's what we face on a day-to-day basis. We face complex tasks, complex scenarios, all types of different things that challenges our lives. So when we look at trading, we kind of avoid the simple things that trading tries to teach us or the simple things that trading shows us. So we look past those, which is why a lot of people fail. And that's literally one mindset rule to have. Like, with me, I used to trade ICT on like the 1 minute time frame, 5 minute time frame, using the 4 hour and all types of different things. But I got to this point where everything was so complex to me and so complicated that I forgot what I was supposed to do. And I'll just be in a trade like, oh, I thought I seen this order. Nah, it looks different now. And I'll just be so confused. So that goes into my next thing. When it comes to trading, keep it as simple as possible. And as I say this, you want to build a foundation, right? You want to build a foundation. You want to build like a level for yourself where you start off at. Because you can understand people try to get into the complex thing. They try to have like this super complex strategy and they don't have no foundation. So when something goes wrong in their complex strategy, they don't know exactly what to fix. But let's say if you start off super simple, super small, you can build and add on to that. So that way, if something doesn't work, you know exactly what you put on so you can take it off. So let's say if you start with basic market structure and price action, but let's say you add on a Fibonacci, but you start to see that the Fibonacci is making you lose more than the basics, so you know to take it off. But if you start with a bunch of things in the beginning, you're not going to know what to take off. So I always tell people to start simple first and then build up from that. The day that I went from trading smart money concepts to just pure price action, I started to see that I felt more comfortable being in my trades and I started to understand like structure is always going to be better on the higher time frames than the smaller time frames. And it doesn't make me feel like I'm not fearful of my trades. Like I feel way more, I guess you could say calm whenever I'm in a trade. And also it allows me to process, right? A lot of people don't understand that it takes 3 to 5 days for a human brain to process and comprehend something. The way that I trade happens to be almost on that same wavelength. It takes 1 to maybe 2 days for an indication. Let's say first day indication, second day correction. By the third day, my brain has already comprehended what type of trend we're on. So that way, when I am ready to place my trade, I know exactly what I'm doing and I can literally comprehend what I'm seeing. So that way I have a great reasoning and a great analysis when it comes to placing my trade. A lot of people, they trade on, let's say, the 5 minute time frame or the 15 minute time frame. The reason why scalping, so people look at scalping as like a get rich quick scheme, but they always gonna fail because as there's always gonna be those same things that are the same habits that everybody has: over trading, over leveraging, over leveraging, greed, FOMO, all these things. But most of these things are calls from scalpers because let's say if you place a trade at 9:30, right? You're on the 1 minute, 5 minute time frame. Price is most likely going to hit stop loss or TP way faster than somebody's trading on the 1 hour, 4 hour time frame. So you could place a trade at 9:30 and get stopped out by 9:32. That's not enough time to process that you lost, right? A lot of people don't understand that as you take that loss in your head, you're gonna be like, dang, I lost, but your brain doesn't really sit with it, right? So then that's why you act out of it because you're seeing it and you're responding in pure emotions, not logic yet, because your brain hasn't logically accepted that it just lost. So, which is why if you ever notice when you're over trading, you don't notice that you overtrade until the end of the day. You don't understand that you overtrade and literally until the end of the day, or you don't understand that you just FOMO until the end of the day because your brain has now fully processed that it just did that, right? So when it comes to my trading, I always let things process because if you do, even with, let's say if I'm gonna take a loss, right? I took a loss earlier last month around like the 7th or 8th. I took a loss, but my trades are normally around a day to 2 days of holding time, average holding time. Coming to my stop loss, I can see visually that it's coming to my stop loss, but it's going to take some time for that time frame to even get to that stop loss. But in my head, I'm already prepared for that loss, and it lets me process. So then that way, when I do take loss, I'm not instantly trying to find a new trade. I'm just trying to wait, get myself together, and then look for the next trade. A lot of us, we get into trades, we lose, and then we're instantly trying to get it back because that goes into ego. And this is how I was trying to say earlier, you're going to lose. But with the ego side of things, as you're trading and you don't feel like us as humans, we don't like failure. Nobody likes losing. Nobody. We're all going to be like, dang, I just lost, but I need it's kind of choppy. I didn't feel comfortable with trading it, but I was still looking at the charts. Was I trying to figure out what trade I was going to place? No, I was still kind of staying up to date. I can be in back. And when you take that step back, your point, I could tell you exactly where gold is probably at by this point. It's probably at like, last time it's probably at like 4,420, something, somewhere around there. And you need to kind of get yourself in that mode where, huh? Wait, what? I was close?
It's crushing.
I close?
It's crushing.
Uh, But even then, you kind of, damn, that's crazy. Even then, when it comes to trading, you need to make sure that you're kind of in tune with what's going on. You don't want to step away from it because our goal is to make decisions. We have to make decisions. So if you step away from something, let's say if you're in a conversation with a friend, right? And this friend is waiting for you to respond, but you take days to respond back, or you take days to even read the message in general. When you come back, the markets or your friend at that point is gonna be like, well, you just kind of like left me hanging, so I'm gonna just do whatever, right? It's the same way with the markets. You can't just leave it hanging. Even though you take a loss, or let's just use that friend example, just because you and your friend get into an argument, doesn't mean that you stop talking to them for months on end. Just doesn't mean you don't stop talking to them from weeks on end. So when it comes to trading, make sure that you're staying in tune with what's going on, so that way you can keep your brain fresh, right? Because we're trying to make decisions. And I have some notes, but I'm just going off the top of my head at this point. Okay. This one, because it's a big thing. When it comes to losses, because we all gonna take a lot of mental aspect behind even a losing streak. So when it comes to a loss, I don't want anybody to think that losing means you're a failure, right? A lot of say, oh, just journal your trades and do this and that, right? I tell people to journal because I want you to journal how you're feeling emotionally, mentally, and what you're also doing physically on the charts. Because I am a strong believer in the person that is you right now. So if y'all started congregating and talking to each other that y'all are communicating with, it's the same type of, I kind of know how they're going to trade. So whatever you're doing in your head to make those decisions isn't aligning with what the market is kind of, it's kind of like, right? So if your qualities and your habits doesn't match what the market wants, it's not going to reward you. And I'm getting back into this because that foundation, that kind of level that we need to set for ourselves, that base ground that we need to set for ourselves, this is going to be crucial because I tell people all the time, you need to understand who you are first before you try to be something else. If you want to be you in the future, but you don't know who you are now, how can you get to that, right? You don't even know where to start. So back to the losses part, if you don't know where you start and you're taking a loss, it hurts more because you don't know where your ground is at. A lot of people take losses because, or a lot of people take losses super seriously because for one, they probably do something they know they're not supposed to do. Like a lot of people in here probably already know half the shit that I'm saying, but you just don't do it. And also too, as well, people don't build that foundation to even know when they take a loss, they kind of treat it as like their whole life just crashed, right? Their whole life just fell upon them. But a loss is merely just a lesson for you to learn to get better at your next trade. A loss is going to show you the flaws that you've done. And that's why it's super important to journal, because even when you win, you can literally put your win and your loss side by side, and you can pick out which ones made you make a wrong decision, right? A lot of people don't journal that way. I tell people to journal about yourself, who you are as a character, because the same person that walks the street on a daily day basis, drive to work, person that goes to work, goes to the grocery store, goes to the bathroom, watch TV, that same person is the same person hopping on TradingView to make a decision. So if you don't learn yourself first, how can you really better or perfect yourself, right? So with that being said, what I would tell anybody, and if you want to write it down, you can write it down. What I would tell anybody is start one, if you're going to get into trading, see, like literally vision board it, like vision board the whole thing. If you want to write it on a whiteboard, write it in your notes, write it anywhere, pen and paper. Who are you now? Like literally, who are you now? What traits you have? And when I say this, don't try to write all the nice things about yourself. Literally dig deep inside of yourself and be like, hey, I might be a rude person. I might be very selfish. I might be X, Y, and Z. Write everything that you feel like about yourself. even if you have friends or family, ask them, what do they think about you, right? And these are going to list out your personality traits, right? There's only 23, I think it's right around 23 personalities in the world. So you're going to fall into one of the categories, right? And as you fall into one of these categories, you're going to start to see like, oh, this is who I am. And as you start to see who you are, I want you to also, I don't know why, but I even got into trading with my own capital, but I would tell anybody who's starting to practice first. When you practice, practice is not about just how much money you made on a paper trade account. It's not about that, right? When you practice, you need to focus on your executions, your exits. I tell people all the time, you need to focus on what's your risk to reward. When you are risking, how much are you risking? How much are you looking to win? Because even then, let's say you're trying to scale up. Let's say if you're used to making $300 per trade, right? Or let's say $400 per trade, risking $100. If you're so used to that, when it comes to scaling up, you might be a little bit scared to go to 150 per risk, 200 per risk. So it's very important to write down these things because later on, as you start to progress, you're going to easily start gradually saying like, okay, today I tried 100 risk, but today I'm going to try 120, right? The small things that people don't look at, right? So let's say risk to reward, how much you're risking, average hold time, right? That's very important to someone like me too as well. My average hold time is right around 2 days, 18 hours, right? So if I get into a trade for, let's say 5 hours, recently I had got a trade out, I did some shit, but I was gonna get into a buy and I ended up closing within 5 hours. And I was like, dang, like normally I hold for 2 days. This trade, I didn't really feel comfortable with and it closed in 5 hours. And that just goes to show, even down to the fact, let's say if you do win a trade, right? Let's say if you're in a trade and you win and you're used to holding a trade for 24 hours, but you only held this trade for 3 hours. What that will end up causing you'll kind of question yourself like, dang, I'm used to holding trades way longer than this. Should I get back in? Did I get out too early? Should I be FOMOing? Like, did I do something wrong? It's going to cause you to overthink because you're not used to it, right? So as you're practicing, you need to write down the stats because your stats are all going to align. You're going to take the same setups. You're going to take the same trades, pretty much the same executions all the time. And these executions are only going to show you, they're only going to show you what type of trader you are. And finding out this will overall show you side by side, this is the type of person I am. I might be spontaneous, so that's why I take 15 trades a day, all right? Or that's why I take 20 trades a day. And as you start to see this, so risk to reward, how much you risk, average hold time. What's the other one? The best days that you trade. So pretty much the most active days for me is Wednesday. I don't know why, but it just turns out Wednesday is the most active day that I place trades. All these things are very important because when you put them side by side, it tells you exactly who you are, right? And you can put this on a notepad, write it down anywhere, right? And put this here because then this is going to be your foundation of where you're at right now, right? So as you do this, you're going to then see like, oh, I struggle with taking too many trades because, you know, I probably profit off my first trade, but I placed 7 more trades that day trying to make more profit. So that could be greed, right? So you know exactly what to fix. But as you start to try to fix things, I want you guys to also write down, okay, I take X, Y, and Z because of greed, but also take that and say, why am I greedy? What makes me greedy, right? What makes me act this type of emotion? What makes me have that feeling inside when I'm placing a trade? And as you do that, you're going to go back and you're going to see the things that is causing that greed. So for me, I struggle with greed. I struggle with FOMO because I wanted to make a lot of money for my mom. But when I had that in my head, like, okay, that's my greed. I'm acting out of greed because of my mom's situation. It then told me that, hey, I can't really fix this problem right now, right? So why am I trying to rush it if I can't fix it right now, right? A lot of people, they get so attached to their problems that they can't fix right now. If it's not a problem that you can't fix right now, it's something that you have to put to the side. A lot of people have to understand that some problems in this world you cannot fix right away and you have to put it to the side or else it's going to literally linger above you and bother you throughout your whole trading journey. And what I did was I told myself that I won't be able to fix it now, but what I can do is try to get better and better at this trading stuff, and then I can fix it later, right? Because we've already been put in a hole. We've already been dealt cards. A lot of people don't understand that sometimes you might have to hit rock bottom in order to build yourself back up. There's some times where the lights did cut off, but it was like, okay, the lights are off. We have to just build back up from here, but we know not to go back down to that level. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom in order to know not to go back down to there. There's been times where I placed the trade and I knew I wasn't supposed to trade it, over leveraged, lost a lot of money, but I put my own self in that predicament. So the only way that I'm not going to put myself back in that predicament is to learn from that lesson, right? A lot of people have to go through hard things in life to really understand not to go back to a certain level. But you're not going to know that if you don't know where you're starting at. So with this being said, I tell people all the time that attachment is going to be your biggest downfall. And attachment to me is more of like thinking that one thing should be one way, right? Our life, we grew up into a kind of like a path where we have everything aligned for us. We go to school. Once we go to school, we go to college, get a job afterwards, family, and the whole routine, the whole nine. And the moment we step out of that, we're stepping into a risky zone. We're stepping into like, oh, you're not like, there's not a lot of people. Everybody in this room is pretty much stepped over. And so like, I guess you could say, I don't know, what would you call it, the dark side? We have already stepped over into a different lane that normal people are not going to take. So as we're in this lane and as we're taking this risk, we have to understand that anything can happen, right? It's not going to be straight and narrow like how we think. Even the straight standard line of how somebody's life is supposed to work doesn't even go as planned. Some people go to college, get out of college, and don't find a job. But it was supposed to be where, oh, if I got out of college, I was going to have this and that, right? There's a lot of things that's not going to go according to plan. So with that being said, don't have attachment to things in life when it comes to trading or just anything in general, but mostly in trading, because the moment you start getting attached to, let's say, a trade, for example, if you get emotionally attached to a trade, the moment something is not going according to plan, one, it hurts your ego, but two, you don't see another option, right? People kind of have that like tunnel vision on one thing. And when they have that tunnel vision, they don't see the multiple opportunities. Trading is a game of possibilities, right? Even when I mark up my charts, if y'all have ever seen that, if I mark up my charts, I'll tell you what my analysis is, but I'll also tell you like, hey, if it doesn't go this way, it could possibly do X, Y, and Z. And that also goes back into what I said earlier. When it comes to a loss, I let everything process, but when I take a loss, I already have a backup plan for that loss, right? So that way, when I do have that plan, it doesn't cause me to act out of just straight emotions. Let's say, for example, the other month when I took my loss, I was in a sell, I lost the sell, it bought up, but in my head, I already had it planned out for the buy too as well. I lost my sell and I seen the indication for the buy, which then helped me be like, okay, I can chill. Price is doing X, Y, and Z that I had on my second plan. So now get prepared for that plan that I had second. So that way in my head, I'm not just doing anything and everything, right? Trading is all about decision making. Decisions is going to be literally, I'm going to keep saying it because a lot of people think it's just about the strategy you use. There's people that use all crazy lines and all types of MMA or what is it called? EMAs and all types of Fibonacci's and stuff and patterns. And they still win, right? They still win, but I'm pretty sure they have a mindset towards it. I'm pretty sure they have a set rule book on they follow and they don't break it. They have that discipline to even, stick with that. But trading is not about just the strategy, right? Anybody, like when it comes to, I'm over here pointing like this chart's not behind me. Even when it comes to like marking up charts, right? I try to keep my charts as simple as possible, like I said earlier. I don't try to do things that kind of misconstrue, like it could be misconstrued. Like you might see a trading line, but you might see a trend line, I might not see that same trend line, right? But we can all see the same highs and lows on the 4-hour time frame. We can all see the same highs and lows when it comes to the 1-hour time frame, right? We can all see the levels that price reacts from on those higher time frames. So when it comes to that, and I'm keeping it simple. Sorry, bro. When it comes to keeping it simple and having it where nothing can be misconstrued, and you know that, okay, if I do mess up, I know exactly what to fix. But also at the same time, when I kind of lost my train of thought, sorry. It's coming back in my head. All right. No, I had it in my head. It was gonna be sauce.
Like banking up when you have another thing you don't watch anything you're trading.
Oh, good one. Yeah, he's listening. Yeah. So whenever yeah, I'm so glad you had that. Whenever I have that backup plan and I understand that, hey, it didn't go according to plan, for one, I keep it simple so that way when something doesn't go according to plan, I can point out exactly why it didn't go according to plan. Like my trade last month, I didn't wait for a price to correct and, realign with the daily. I kind of just went off the daily time frame. I was like, oh, daily time frame made a lower high. The 4 hour didn't do anything yet. So I just placed the trade just based off the daily time frame, which then I seen that the 4 hour ended up doing something completely different. And that showed me that I should have waited for price to align with the 4 hour before I placed that trade. So that way I kind of have an idea of what I did wrong. So that way I just don't act off of pure emotions, right? You don't want to act off those emotions. And I think I have some notes for you guys too as well that I want to. How y'all feeling? I'm not boring y'all, am I? All right, cool. Good? Yeah. It's a little hot. All right. It's making my neck hurt. Yeah, like all of my cameras. Okay. Ready. Yeah. All right, I'm ready. Yeah. I hate screaming. All right, cool. So my next thing for anybody and everybody is how many people have been trading, like just started trading a month? Like, oh, damn. Oh, I see one back there. All right, how many have been trading for 6 months? A year? Plus two? So a year plus two. All right, so my question to anybody, it could be anybody. My question to anybody and everybody is, for the people that's been trading a year or more, do you feel like that you've done, like, you know exactly what you should be doing, but for some reason you can't do what you need to be doing? Like you've kind of broke your rules over and over, knowing that you know exactly what to do? Do you guys ever feel like whenever you are making those mistakes, you feel like you know exactly what you're doing in that moment, that you kind of like disobey it, or is it something that you can't see right away until after everything is over? After? Wait, how many people think it's after? After? Or how many people know exactly what they're doing before they place it? Oh, y'all are devious. All right, so now my question is, for the people that know exactly what they're doing before they enter the trade and they know they shouldn't be doing it, but instead you do it, why is that? Like, what makes you, do you ever think in your head that it's going to be different than the last time? Okay. Huh? All right, and that goes into my next part. As you are doing this, if you know something is going to harm you, or if you know something is not going to take you to where you need to go, and you disobey it, or you don't go and follow the rules, and I'm not trying to like, call y'all out, but I am. When you're doing those things that you know you're not supposed to do, and you know that it's going to end up most likely in a loss, like it's been doing for the year plus more. When you do it, how come you never think about the whole like game plan in the beginning of where you need to go? Or do you have a game plan or not? How many people feel like they have a game plan when it comes to trading of like where they're starting and how they're trying to finish? Y'all know exactly what y'all want to do with trading? I don't. I don't believe that. But all right, cool. I'm bringing this up because it's a common thing that we all know exactly what we need to be doing, but we don't do it. And there's times where we know, hey, I just exited this trade. I should be calling it a good day. I just made $500, $1,000, $5,000. I should be calling it a day. But instead, you go back and you trade and trade and trade and trade, and then you lose it all, right? Or there's times where we know that we just took a loss. We should take a mental break away from the markets, but instead we try to trade and trade and trade and get that money back, right? And we know that it's most likely not going to go according to plan, right? I want everybody to think in like a probability of everything. Like whenever you're in a situation where, let's say you won for the day, the chances of you going back and trading and winning more money is way less likely than you just taking a step away and keeping that and maintaining the money and coming back the next day, right? And it's going to be easy for me to say and harder for you to do because I'm getting into this because discipline is not something that has tips and tricks, right? You can find a bunch of videos on YouTube about discipline and psychology. But as I'm talking to you guys, I want you guys to know that everything I'm saying is something I've been through and how I, put myself through it. But with you guys have to really hone down on yourselves and be like, yo, like, I need to like do exactly what I need to do because every time I go against it, it takes me the wrong route. And it's going to be way easier for me to say, but this is going to be the best thing that you do because you're fighting against yourself now, right? There was this guy, try to remember what city it was. I'm pretty sure it was in New York. He told me that he took his $1,000 to $7,000 in a week or 2 weeks or something. He had just started trading. He was super happy about it. I would be happy too if I just started trading too. And I made 7,000 in the first 3 weeks or so. And he said that he remembered seeing everything. He knew exactly what he needed to do. And he remembered closing a trade for like 2,000 to get him to that 7,000. But for some reason in his head, he was just like, trade more, trade more, trade more. And he like logically didn't hear him, like his logical side wasn't there yet to even process that he made all that. So he just kept trading and trading and trading, and it took him back down to $500. And he was literally on his route to succeeding. Like he was slowly on his route. If he would have took time, he was slowly on that route to succeeding. And he's only been trading for like less than a month, right? And as he's doing this, he doesn't understand. Well, he understands now, but at the time he didn't understand why he was doing it. He just kept doing it. But that's only because you now is going to fight the future you. It's always going to do that because you now is comfortable. You've been the way that you've been for plus years, right? I'm 23, so I've been me for like 23 years now, right? Yourself now is always going to fight the future you that you're trying to become, which is why self-sabotagement is a huge thing too. A lot of people don't want to get into trading because they feel like they're not going to be great at it. A lot of people, they doubt themselves because they feel like who they are now is not somebody that they can be in the future, right? They don't see the future selves in them. Me, for example, I used to deal with self-sabotagement because even when I was making good trades, I would tell myself like, nah, like there's no way I just won that amount of money. There's no way that I won $300 off this trade. And it would cause me to just put myself in deeper holes. Like I would win $300. I should be done for the day. I'm working a warehouse job that pays me $80 a day, right? So I just made $300 from trading. But in my head, I'm like, nah, I deserve more. Or, I feel like I don't deserve that, right? So then I start trading and then I lose it all in one day, right? Self-sabotagement is going to be something that lingers around all of us. I had a friend of mine that he's now currently in the Navy. And when I first met him, he used to trade prop firms. He was blowing them all the time. And he didn't really understand. And this is not to say that going to the Navy is going to earn you discipline. But one day he texts me. He's like, yo, I need to call you right quick. I got to make a huge decision in my life. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll call you in 15. Call him in 15 minutes. And he's on the phone. He's like, bro, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'm going to drop everything and just go to the Navy right now. And I'm like, how the hell are you going to the Navy? He's like, bro, I just really I want to work on my discipline, but I understand that I have to go through something to put me in a situation where discipline builds inside me. If you get what, everybody gets what I'm saying? So he was telling me that he felt like him going to the Navy was gonna help him build discipline, and structure in his life. Now, there's many ways that you can do without going to the Navy, Army, whatever. So his way was this way. He did this. He was in the, he was there for almost 6 months to a year, if I'm not mistaken, before he was able to start getting paid, however that works. He starts getting paid and he puts his checks into trading. And he told me that when he was trading, he was making good money. He was keeping it simple, keeping the setup simple. He was getting money, but every time he took 1,000 to 5,000, for some reason that 5,000 mark just made him like do things that he wasn't doing. Like he would literally do everything he needs to do until 5,000, and for some reason that threshold made him over leverage, over trade, make dumb decisions, make dumb trades, and he was like, for some reason, I know exactly what to do, but every time I get to this threshold, like there's just like something like a mental wall there, right? And for a lot of us, the reason why I'm saying this, for a lot of us, some of our thresholds might not be as big as others, right? We might stop at $200 and start freaking out. We might stop at 500 and start freaking out. We might stop at $10 in profit and start freaking out. And this just goes to show that discipline is not something that I could just give you tips and tricks. For him, what he did was I gave him a little bit of advice. I was like, hey, whenever you get to 5,000, what you could do is instead of trading 5,000 in front of you, since you every time you visually see it, you start freaking out, just split your accounts up. Whenever you get to 5,000, split your accounts up and then start trading back up to 5,000 from there. But also as well, keep one at 5,000 when you reach that again, because we can see that you have the skill, but every time you get to that 5K mark, you kind of hit like this like wall. So what you can do is reduce your size and try to break that wall by bit, so that way you get more comfortable with it, right? And as you get more comfortable with it, you kind of like ease into that future you that you need to be. Once again, our old self is always going to fight our new person, right? Me right now would fight with the person back then because we wouldn't see eye to eye. So we wouldn't understand why we're making certain decisions. Or even me when I was working 2 jobs at 18, warehouse jobs, even that person was fighting me then. Like the person that was walking 2 hours to work and all this and that was fighting the person that was like, no, we need to sit home and be comfortable. You're always going to battle yourself when it comes to pretty much anything. When it comes to the charts, there's sometimes where you probably get into a trade and you're like, oh, I see X, Y, and Z set up. And then you get into the trade and then you start battling against yourself like, nah, that might be wrong, right? This is a common thing because we start to think with ourselves. We start to, overall like just like kind of doubt ourselves in a bit. And also this comes from not knowing who you are in general. So if you know, let's say if you have like a friend, right? This friend is super obnoxious, right? You know that person, right? So you know what to bring that person to, what not to bring that person into, how to talk to that person. If we start to learn ourselves as who we are, we know exactly how we're going to feel during certain situations and during certain during certain scenarios. And during these certain scenarios, we know that, let's say we get into a trade and normally we don't risk this amount, but we're trying to learn how to scale up, right? Our old self is going to be like, nah, like come back down on the risk or reduce the stop loss, all types of things. But you now is trying to progress into a new level. You're trying to scale. But that old you is going to fight yourself. And as you're fighting yourself, you're going to start to see, oh, I know I'm a freak out, but I shouldn't freak out because this could be another level for me, right? Does that make sense to y'all? I don't want to lose y'all. Y'all look lost. Old you is always going to fight new you. Keep it simple. Old you is always going to fight the new you, right? You're trying to become something. There's going to be something fighting you always, whether it's you, your family members, your friends. There's always going to be some type of obstacle in your way. And the best way that I can say to even build that discipline, because that's what's building discipline, is fighting yourself, your comfortable self, fighting that person and trying to become better. That's the discipline, right? You being able to withstand whatever the old person is talking about. People, how many people go to the gym in here? Don't be lying. All right, prime example for, because majority of y'all go to the gym. You went to the gym before, first day going to the gym. Did you want to go to the gym first day going to the gym? Nah, all right, so cool. First day going to the gym, you're probably like, damn, like, you're kind of excited, but you're like, once you start lifting the weights and stuff, you're like, damn, fuck this. Second day, like, it's a common thing too. New Year's resolutions. You can look this up. New Year's resolutions, everybody goes to the gym for the first 2 weeks. People that go to the gym, you probably see after New Year's, there's like 50,000 people in the gym, and you're like, dang, cool. So it takes around 2 to 3 weeks for everybody that has that New Year's resolution to stick in the gym. Most of them leave by the second week, right? And as they leave by the second week, they keep going, they keep decreasing because who they are is still the person they're bringing. So for 2025, they're still bringing that 2025 person into 2026, right? So they haven't changed yet. I always tell myself that even now, right? I just turned 23 last week. I tell my friends, like, you're not truly your age until like 6 months later. And then you kind of developed into it. I take everything like that. So for the people that go to the gym, you're not really in the gym until 6 months later. Then you can say that you're in the gym, right? If you went consistently. Because somebody can go to the gym for 1 day, 2 days, and be like they're in a gym. It's the same way with like being a barber. What was that one group? If I cut hair one time, does that make me a barber? So as you're doing this, you're gonna bring that old you always with you. That old you is always gonna be with you. The people that came in 2025 thinking they're gonna have a New Year's resolution, they're still gonna be that same person until they start putting themselves through things throughout the month. So they go through something in January, go through something in February, March, April. They're gonna finally change by May, June. They're finally gonna change into what they're trying to transition into because they've already built that in them. For the people that go to the gym, you've gotten to the point now where you've been to the gym so many times where it's kind of like second nature for you, right? You don't even think about, oh, it hurts or, oh, I don't want to go today. Like there's going to be days where you don't want to go, right? But you still kind of go because you have what? That discipline to fight against the comfortable you, right? It's going to be the same way with trading. Whenever you are knowing that you're going to do something wrong and you know it's wrong, you got to go against it because that person you is trying to be comfortable, is trying to be safe, right? But you are trying to scale up and put yourself in a better predicament, right? The comfortable you doesn't want to risk. Risk is dangerous. It doesn't want to do that, right? But the new you knows that your risk is calculated, right? So when it comes to things, and for the people that have been trading for a year and a half or more, I want you to always know, and even for the new people, when it comes to trading, you're always going to fight the old you, and that old you is always going to sink in. So that's why I'm so big on learning who you are now, because as you learn who you are now, you know exactly what you can avoid or what you can dismiss when it comes up. So if you know you're very spontaneous, which makes you take 20 trades a day, or you're very risky, which makes you do all crazy risk parameters, when it comes to you having proper risk management, maybe one or two setups a day, a week, when it comes to you trying to be that person, you know exactly what not to do. So if you took one trade already for the day and you calling it a day, the old you is gonna be like, nah, bro, take one more, right? It's always gonna be that. Take one more. But you gotta have the discipline to fight that. That's only the old you talking to yourself because for some reason the old you just want to be comfortable or the old you doesn't want to win, right? So I didn't confuse anybody. I just gotta make sure, man. I'll be explaining charts on YouTube and stuff, and it be people in the comment like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean?" Wait, do we have a whiteboard?
Use the wall.
All right, cool. Now, I'm gonna dabble a little bit into trading because I feel like it corresponds to just overall the mindset of things. So when it comes to trading, I wish we had a whiteboard, but I'm gonna just do it in my like. Let's all visionary, like let's just imagine it, right? When it comes to my trading, I'm big on time frames correlating together. Time frames need to align. So I trade gold. I've been trading gold for pretty much a year now. Yeah, right around a year now. I stopped trading NASDAQ, which I have tatted on my arm. I feel like I have to remove this now. But I stopped trading NASDAQ because last year Trump was doing the whole buy stocks now. Matter of fact, he's actually doing it again on the same timing, actually, because it's May. It was like June now. He did it the same time last year. But he started manipulating stocks. I really wasn't with that. Even though it was making people money, I wasn't with that at all. So I stopped trading NASDAQ. I was trading NASDAQ for 3.5 years. Went pretty well. The structure was pretty good until then. And then I started trading gold. I trade gold now based off the 4-hour time frame and 1-hour time frame. There's times where I use the daily time frame, but only if it makes sense, and that just comes to basic structure. So like right now, the daily time frame has a new low. It should have a new low. I use candle closes, so it should have a new low. So that means price on the daily has made an indication. It takes days for that daily candle to actually print out and do what it needs to do with structure wise. It might take a couple more weeks for that indication to make a correction and then continue back down. Might take another couple weeks, right? We might not see a pullback until the next 2-3 weeks. You never know, right? So I would tell everybody that I trade off the 4-hour time frame, 1-hour time frame. My biggest rule is if the 4-hour time frame is on an uptrend or a downtrend, so let's say uptrend, for example, if it's on an uptrend, the 1-hour time frame, I cannot enter until the 1-hour time frame aligns with the 1-hour time or 4-hour time frame. And if it doesn't, then I leave it alone. I'm a strong believer in setting alerts. I set up a lot of alerts. I can show you, like I set like it's insane amount of alerts actually. Let's see. I have literally no signal in here. It's like I'm in a bat cave. Okay, never mind. All right, never mind. I set up a lot of alerts because, like I said earlier, I want trading to be freedom to me. I don't want to treat it as an office job. There's times where I probably might not look at my charts for 2 days, 3 days, because my alerts are there on the levels that I need to look for. The levels that I like to look for are always going to be on the 4-hour time frame. When it comes to price moving in general, I think the 4-hour is pretty much a strong basis of what the trend is going to do. And when I do set these alerts, I set them always on highs and lows. So if the trend is a downtrend, I'm going to set my alerts on lows only, right? Because that's the trend, right? We're only looking for lows to break when it comes to trading a downtrend. Vice versa, if it's on an uptrend, we're only looking for highs to break. And with that being said, when it comes to even correlating the 4-hour and 1-hour, I try not to do too much on the 1-hour time frame. I know a lot of people kind of get into a habit of like marking up completely on the 4-hour and then trying to remark everything up on the 1-hour and the 15-minute and going lower and lower, which is always going to confuse you because then you're going to have a lot of lines and a lot of markings and you're not going to know what is what. So what I like to do is I only mark up on the 4-hour time frame and I only wait for the 1-hour to come above or below those levels. I wish we had a whiteboard, but it's cool. Do we not have a whiteboard? Talking to myself. Do we have no whiteboard? All right.
Yeah, that's a counterclaim.
Counter trend trades. There's been times where I've made trades against the trend, but most likely not going to be the best outcome. So with me, I always try to keep the 4-hour and 1-hour close together and making sure they're always going to align with each other. But also as well, when it comes to even trading in general, I want you to understand that your TPs are always going to be either lows or highs only. There's not going to be just random numbers. There's a lot of people that kind of go based off of random numbers, psychology numbers, and all this and that. Remember, the market sees that as a whole number or a half number, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is where's the buyers, where are the sellers, right? And highs and lows are going to be prime example of where buyers and sellers are at because you can visually see the reactions towards price whenever it hits certain levels. So if price comes down to a level and you see it spike back up and some type of reaction, you know that there's a buyer there, or you know there's a strong level of buyers there. So with this being said, I always take highs and lows as like, kind of like doors, for example. Let me make it happen.
On its way.
Huh?
It's on its way.
Oh, it's on its way. Okay. So they do have one.
The guys.
What the hell does that mean? All right, cool. Well, I'll just try to like verbally explain it. So when it comes to price, let's say we have a low. Let's say we have, let's say today on gold. How many people trade gold in there? A good amount. Yeah, there we go. Stop trading NQ. That shit is ass. Anyways, all right, cool. So let's say if we're looking at our charts on a 4 hour time frame, if you want to pull your phone out, you can. Let's say we're looking at the 4 hour time frame and we have a low. This low, I like to look at all lows. It's kind of like doors, for example. So basically what I mean is, let's say if it takes, and this is just an imaginary number, it's probably like millions and billions of dollars, but let's say it takes $500 to break a level. So $500 to break a low. That low is not gonna break until price has way more than 500, which is why indication is created. An indication is created because it's leftover money from the breakage of the first low. So a low is made, stop. Yeah, I could use that. I don't know if anybody can see your screen, but it's cool. How do I make it bigger? Oh, I see it. All right, cool. So what I'm gonna do is, all right, cool. How do I make this? I feel like I'm good technology sometimes. All right, can we see that? Yeah. All right, so whenever price makes a low, let's say this cost $500 to break. I look at this, so I start off pretty much all my trades with finding what is the previous high, what is the previous low. Because from there, you can work off of that. It doesn't even even now, since price made a new low, you can use that as your low, and whatever created that is what you use as your high. A lot of people don't understand that. You just don't go mark anything and everything. You always start with what created this and what created that. So if price made a new low or price made a low in general, you always backtrack what caused that. So if you ever look at price, so let's say now, right? Let's say how price fell down today, you would just backtrack on where it started to even make that whole downtrend. And that will be your high. And those are the things that you need to track because those is telling you basically, so if we're looking at today, if price fell down today, right? We would just say, oh, this is the low, but this is where everything started from to cause that selling pressure to come down. And this is very important because from here, if you want price to continue on the downtrend, it can no longer go any higher than this point, right? But if you want price to go back on the uptrend, the only way you'll be able to tell is if it's back above here, because there's a strong amount of sellers here. Follow what the market is doing, right? Don't try to go against it, because there's been times where I've gotten to, let's say a price is selling right now, all the way down to the low. The old me, I would have been like, oh no, bro, I'm gonna catch this buy all the way back up. I place like all the lots I can, and I'm like, I just needed to go back up a little bit and I'll make a lot of money. Why would you do that to yourself, right? I used to be a person that used to trade. It's not working anymore. Did I break it? Oh, wait.
Just double check.
Oh, wait. I'm so confused. Oh, thanks. All right, cool. All right, let's just kind of delete all this. I look like Unc up here. All right, cool. So basically, when it comes to marking on my charts, I always start off with the 4 hour time frame, but I always start with marking that high and that low first, because that's going to give me a general direction on kind of like, let's say a price is like, let's stand still right now, right? Let's say a price is kind of like this. At this point, I know if price is above here, it could be going for an uptrend. I know if it's going below here, it's going for a downtrend. Keep it just like that, nothing else. A lot of people, they'll be like, well, it can't be that simple. If you ever looked at the actual trends that price is making, you'll start to notice that price kind of goes like, not even kind of. If you ever actually look at the trend, you see that this is happening. But if you actually go back and look at the structure, this structure never breaks, vice versa, even if we used to do it on downtrend or uptrend. It will never break that structure because higher time frames always follow the rules. The rules of price action is going to be if price makes a higher high, it's going to make a higher low, then make a higher high. That's the trend, right? Or if price is going to make a lower low, it's going to create a lower high, then create another lower low. And I know as simple as it sounds, if you actually go look at the chart, you'll see that price never breaks structure whenever it's on a trend. The moment that it does break structure is when the trend reverses, right? And that's when you think something different. And there's a lot of things that come into play when it comes to price action, because there's times where if price makes let's say a new high, let's say price makes a new high, breaks above here, I see a common thing where people are like, they're scared because price comes back and retests this level, right? That's okay. I see that some people, they're like, oh, price came all the way down here. They end up thinking that it's a sell. Or sometimes people think that coming here isn't valid enough for like a pullback. Or sometimes price might not even come all the way there. It might just be something super small, right? There's a lot of times where price not might come to the original breakout level. Sometimes price might go past the breakout level, test the low, test the high, whatever the case might be. As long as price is not breaking structure, the trend is still valid, right? And there's going to be times where, let's say, I'm trying to think of all the things that I see on the comments, but let's say there's like a new low. Let's say a new low or new high. I want you to get into a mindset of most lows have to be, I guess, I don't want to use this word and confuse people, but it has to be mitigated or it has to be equal. Let's just say it that way. So the new low that was on gold, and I made a video a couple of days ago saying that that new low is fishy. Like I want you to look at everything new as something that price can come to, right? There's going to be times in the market where there's going to be like a new high or a new low, and it's just sitting there, and then price goes back up on another trend. Eventually, price is going to come back and get that low or come get that high. It might take a couple of days, it might take a couple of weeks, who knows? But it's coming back for that because it's just left there, right? There's a bunch of sellers that were left there, or a bunch of buyers that was left in that level. So, with that being said, I always look at lows and highs as something to kind of give me a story of what price is going to do. And as that being said, let's say price goes on, let's just kind of explain. Let's kind of explain the whole ICC. So for me, like I said, with indication or some type of correction, it normally takes 1 to 2 days. I'm a firm believer in thinking that gold has probably like one good higher time frame set up per week, maybe per week. Like this whole week, we was chop, 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 and then Friday we got a good move, right? And then that's it. The week is over. So then next week it might change into an uptrend, or it might continue to downtrend, but that would be the trade for the week. So I always try to sit back and be patient when it comes to trades, because the moment that we do get that good move, that'll be the move that I can cash for a week, and that's it. If you ever notice any of my breakdowns or any of my trades that I've shown, you kind of see, like, I think I did a video not too long ago of like how I took literally one trade every single week, but it was like that one trade every week, and I've been doing that for the longest. And that just is me showing that that one gold setup, anybody can catch. You just have to be prepared for it, and you have to understand that the market is going to take time, but it's going to do what you need it to do overall. So with that being said, when it comes to pretty much price action, I feel like nobody can see. When it comes to price action, I'll always look at it once again as highs and lows. But as I look at these highs and lows, I always tell myself that if anything is under these levels, so if anything is under a high, it has more potential to sell. If anything is above a high, it has more potential to buy. Vice versa. So if it's under a low, it has more potential to sell. And if it's above a low, it has more potential to buy. Right? So if I'm, let's say here in a standpoint where we have a high and a low, this is just going to tell me that price is on both sides. Right? When I trade, everything has to be one-sided. Right? Everything has to align on one side. Because when it's one-sided, it's stronger. Right? When these two are fighting each other, it makes no sense because you're just in the middle of a fight. If I don't know if you ever seen a fight before, but if somebody's fighting, you don't go try to break it up because you might get hit too.
Yeah.
Right? So if two levels are fighting, I'm not gonna get in the midst of that because then I might get hurt. Right? I might lose money. So I always play at one-sided, and when I play at one-sided, let's say price goes up to the upside and make an indication corrects, right? This indication is only showing you how far it's gonna go. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Look at you.
Well, this is
Proud of you, bud. Proud of you.
Yo, put it closer to that side so the string gets
Okay. How many people's in the string?
700 something.
Higher. Hi, y'all ready? Yo. All right, cool. All right, so I feel like I explained this 1,000 times. So 4 hour time frame, trend, 1 hour. 1 hour time frame, you could say entry. So there's probably a couple videos that I do have that is talking about me trading on the 15-minute time frame. I stopped trading on the 15-minute time frame because it broke structure a lot, especially with the volume that was caused from the United States and Iran war. It caused a lot of volume throughout New York sessions. So I did switch back to using the 1 hour and 4 hour time frame when it comes to pretty much all my trades. I always start with the 4 hour time frame first. Any trade that I pretty much get in is pretty much based off the 4 hour time frame. So previously, if you see now, if you look on the 4 hour time frame, everything is super clean. The structure is definitely there. There's times where price might be sitting in a level of a no trade zone, but the structure is definitely there. So with that being said, I always use this when it comes to trends. The daily time frame is only more of like a swing trader, like looking to progress and prolong a trade. But it's kind of hard to hold the trade during these markets. Sometimes there's. That's like it.
Okay, thank you. We'll take whatever we get, whatever the cards we're dealt.
All right, cool. Daily time frame for me is more of something where I'm looking to like, could this progress into something further? But if not, I'm okay with whatever the 4 hour and 1 hour gives me. As it comes to this 4 hour level that we see the trend on, this is where our TP, SL, yeah, that's TP and SL is going to come from. Always this. Now, a lot of people are always going to be like, well, the 4 hour time frame is a lot of pips, a lot of points. But me as a swing trader, I'm not looking for just a small move to make points. So some people look at my trades as like, oh, I'm just trying to catch 5 pips or something. No, I'm trying to look for a good progression down or a good progression up. So when it comes to even using my stop losses, if you feel like the stop loss is too big, loosen your lot size, right? You don't have to loosen your stop loss because your stop loss It's supposed to be in areas where trends become invalid. So if we're finding a trend off the 4 hour, how can we put our stop loss from the 1 hour, 15 time frame when the trend is, we're looking for is in the 4 hour time frame? Right? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of people, they do all this, but then they'll get their stop loss in the 15 minute because they're scared to put it at the 4 hour, right? But if you trust, and it's gonna be harder for you to do than me to say, it's gonna be easier for me to say, but you're gonna have to get into the habit of trusting the 4 hour to do what it needs to do. There's gonna be times where price makes a low, a lower high, and let's say you get into a trade, but you're scared if price is gonna make that new lower low. There's gonna be times where you have to trust this, right? There's gonna be pretty much all the time where you're gonna have to trust price to do what it needs to do on that higher time frame structure. And this is only going to end up making you, I guess you can say a little bit aware of what's going on. In the beginning, I didn't have no trust in it. So when price was moving down, there will be times I'll be looking, like I'll be on the 4 hour, marking up my charts, get in a trade. And as I get into a trade, I start to see the 15 minute or something doing something crazy, right? And then I start getting in my head and then I close and all types of things. There's been times where you've probably been in a trade, everything's going to plan, but you look at another time frame completely different to what the trend is doing. And then you get in your head and you close and then price goes exactly where you need it to go, right? There's probably a lot of people that have been through that. But easier for me to say, stop loss and TP should always be on the 4 hour time frame because that's the trend that you're looking for. And this is what I do. You don't have to do what I do, but this is what I do. The 1 hour, when I say entry, I don't mean like, I don't want anybody to like think like, oh, 1 hour, look for this confirmation or this confluence. Normally what I do is if I'm marking up on the 4 hour time frame, if the 1 hour comes below that level that I'm looking for, all I do is I go on the 1 hour time frame. I'll be like, hey, is this correlating with this trend? If so, enter. That's it, right? I keep it as simple as possible because one thing I've noticed is, like I said earlier, if price is breaking this level, that means that it had enough money to break that level. So it's not going to be a time where price just breaks this level and then goes all the way back up for an uptrend, right? There could be times where price does something like, there could be times where price does something like this. Let's say if it breaks this level, right? It does something small like this and then comes back up high again and then drops later. It could do something like that. But mind you, it never broke structure in the first place. So it's not an invalid trade. It was just that you had your stop loss so low down that you ended up getting stopped out, or you had your lot size so big that your account couldn't handle, so you had to close, right? I'm here to teach you how to make money for the long term, right? I'm not a big person on every single day trading. I don't want to do that. I've done that before. I've day traded for like a year and a half. And then I got to the point where I was tired of like, there'll be days where I don't want to get up and trade. I want to sit in bed and enjoy the fact that I'm a trader, right? So I always try to teach people things that I do that help me not be on the charts and I go enjoy my life. If I was looking at the charts all day, I couldn't be here. I should be looking at the charts right now if I wanted to, right? But that's not the type of trader I wanted to be. I wanted to be somebody that I can place a trade for maybe once or twice a week and I'm done, right? I've been that way. So with this being said, when it comes to this, or when it comes to even just setting your levels, as you're setting your TPs and your stop loss, if price is on the downtrend, it's always supposed to be above lower highs, right? A lower high should not be broken because the basics of a downtrend is lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. The moment price breaks a lower high, that becomes invalid, right? And this is no longer a lower high because this high is not lower than, or this high is not higher than this one. So this becomes a higher high, right? And higher highs should not happen in downtrends, vice versa. So if we was on an uptrend, right? If we was on an uptrend, these are higher lows. There should be nothing under this higher low because then this low is not a higher low anymore. This is the lowest low, right? Does that make sense? Y'all got me?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Hold on one second. I just want to make sure. All right. So with that being said, back into TPs and stop loss. Downtrends above higher, lower highs. Uptrends below the higher lows because you don't want to see those get broken. And as you start to trade more and more, if you even go look at the charts now, you can literally see price going down in lower highs and lower lows only. And you can mark them out just like this. And price is going down. There could be times where price does something like this. Let's say price is going down, makes a lower high, comes up, makes an equal high or an equal low right here. It does something like this, stalls for a bit, and then goes back down. There could be times like that too. But what did it not do? Break structure. The biggest thing that I've learned is there's going to be some times where price is going to do something funky just to get you out of your trade. But if it doesn't break structure, if it doesn't go against the overall trend, then continue to progress thinking that way. So if I see prices in a downtrend, the only time I should switch up on that downtrend is if price breaks structure, right? Because the moment you look at something, let's say something like this happens. Let's say something where price comes down a little bit, it comes here, retests here, and you start thinking something different. And you're like, oh, price could go back on the uptrend, so I'm gonna get in for a buy because it made a higher low, right? I almost made that mistake the other day where price was on a downtrend and made a higher low, so I started thinking a buy, right? And then it comes back down because it's just gonna make an equal high, and then it comes down, and you just made that decision because you felt like it was gonna do something based off this. So that goes into my next part. When it comes to reversals, there's gonna be kind of like, I would say a two confirmation thing, but for reversals, you need kind of like, let's say a downtrend is happening for a reversal. First, you might see a higher high. Let's just do a higher high. Let's say you might see a higher high first, but this initially doesn't mean that you should get into a buy, right? A lot of people think that this just means price is going to buy and then continue to do whatever, right? This is merely an indication. Everything that happens first, any initial breakout, any breakout in general is not for you to trade it, right? It's for you to observe what it's going to do because this is going to tell you how far it's going to go. And you need that information. Trading is about making decisions, but in order to make decisions, you need that information, right? Same way with like lawyers, right? They need a bunch of information, a bunch of evidence before they can actually have their case. So before we get into a trade, we have to have the evidence that price wants to go further. Just because it did this doesn't mean that it's going to fully go on that uptrend. Because there's times where price can do this and come back down and start building back up that lower high and go back down, right? Or not even or, but when it comes to reversals, right? When it comes to reversals, we get let's say a higher high. We need to wait for the second part because that second part is telling us if it's going to go lower because like I said, it can come all the way down here if you want to, it's the market. But in most cases, what you'll see is this first initial breakout. Once it breaks out, you'll start to see that higher low made and then price progress back up, which is then what you take, right? Because now you have a high and a low. And that low is higher than this one. So you have a higher high and a higher low. So what is price most likely going to make next? A new higher high, right? I try to keep trading as simple as that for myself because then I know that let's say if I was wrong and price made a lower high, then I only know then that this is going to go back for a downtrend and I can prepare for that move, right? So then I can prepare for that trade because then from here, I'm just waiting for price to break here, make an indication, make a lower high, and then go back down from there, right? And I just keep it simple like that for myself because if you look at the actual chart, that's what the trends are doing. Trends are not breaking structure unless they're reversing. And when they are reversing, you can see the structure and how it forms before it reverses. You can see that price, it takes, especially on the higher time frame, like all this is not going to happen in one day. All this is not going to happen in one day. It's going to probably take 2 days, 3 days, sometimes a whole week, sometimes even 2 weeks before you even get a real setup. But by that time, you've already processed what's really going on. So that way you can make an accurate decision when it comes to trading, right? It's not about just like, oh, how you feel or like what you're putting risk towards. It's really about what the market is communicating to you because it's going to give you details and small things that most people might miss. And if you don't see them, you're going to just like, okay, like I still feel like even if this happened, right? Somebody in here will probably look at this as it's still going to go up, right? I don't know why, but there's 14 million traders in the world. We all can't be right. So somebody thinks that this might go back up on the uptrend. And especially when it comes to live markets and when everything is moving so fast, it's a totally different ball game
literally totally different because you're not going to see all this structure until everything progress, right? You're not going to see the structure until everything is actually settled in. So that goes back to my main point. You have to trust this higher time frame to do what it needs to do, right? There's going to be times where you might be wrong, but there's also going to be times where it follows exactly what it needs to do, right? It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard because even going from the smaller time frames to the higher time frames, it was hard for me to trust. But the higher time frame is going to do what it needs to do regardless. When it comes to entries, I'll always enter whenever price is above or below. Let's say if I marked up on the 4 hour, let's say here, my entries for the 1 hour is always going to be back at that initial indication level. It shouldn't be so far out. It shouldn't be all the way down here. It shouldn't be so early. There's times where I enter early because I trust the higher time frame to finish through. But for anybody, I would always tell them your entry should always come from the initial indication level because anything below here is showing you that it's trying to do the same thing that it did here. Make sense? All right. So with that being said, TP stop loss. I'm trying to make sure I do this. TP stop loss. When it comes to volume, volume's a big thing too as well. But I'm not gonna lie, with gold, man, that thing just be moving anytime and every time. So I gotta put myself where I fit in. But what I would tell anybody is, if you are gonna trade it anytime and like anytime possible, whenever it goes with what you're agreeing with, so your analysis. So for me, if it broke a low, I'm gonna take it whenever it broke the low, and I'm going to wait for the volume to kick in, right? With trading on the higher time frame, there's not going to be a time where it just kind of like goes diabolical on New York session or something. There might be a strong pullback or a strong push down or whatever the case might be, but there won't be a time where opening is going to cause a whole move to the different side, right? It's rare. So with that being said, I'm okay and comfortable with taking trades out of session or trades when there's no volume. If price is going with what I'm seeing in the markets, if I'm breaking a low or price is breaking a high, I'll enter the trade because that's what my analysis is. And then I'll just wait for volume to happen. Volume is what causes these breakouts. So without, let's say, let's do it this way. Like I said earlier, if price made a low, right? Let's say price made a low. If this low cost $500 to break, right? Let's say the market is not open yet. This correction that price is doing is not going to be at full speed until the market is here, until the market is ready or the volume is there. So all this pullback is just merely just price kind of just inching its way back up. That's why you see sometimes during Asian session that it's kind of going up, but it's not really doing too much. But then if you look at the difference between London or New York, it's like so many points difference or pips difference, however you want to say it, than Asian session, right? So as price is pulling up, when session starts, session is probably going to finish this off and then start heading its way down. But as it's heading its way down, let's say this one, this move down is coming with, let's say $1,000, right? Let's say it's coming down with $1,000. To break out of this level, it uses this 1,000 towards this. So, and obviously these are like millions of dollars and billions of dollars, but you get what I'm saying. So $1,000 comes here, uses this, it has 500 left, which is why you see an indication continue to progress forward. As it starts to use all this, it has 500 left after here. It uses it all at one level, so it runs into another level. So this one might be 1,000, right? Excuse my handwriting because I'm kind of writing 500 slow. It only had 500 here, so it used, when it broke, it used the rest of its 500. It's at 1,000. So now this goes into, it used the rest of the 500. So now this has 500 left. But the market has $0 at this point. So that's why you see corrections happen, because corrections is only to grab more money. And a lot of people trade the breakouts, right? So there's a lot of new traders that trade these breakouts. There's a lot of people that gamble on these trade out or breakouts. So that way, when price does come back and correct, a lot of new traders don't know when to get out, or they're greedy, or they're just kind of in it just to be in it. So the market is going to take all that money that is in that market, because a lot of these people are just trading based off the breakout. If you see price is selling super hard one day, naturally we're just going to want to sell because everybody, like, it looks like it's selling. So I mean, how many people ever done that price breakout? We just instantly start pressing the button. Like, that's how everybody's thinking. And there's 14 million traders in the world. So just imagine everybody that's trying to make money, right? I think there's right around, I think it's right around 20,000 hedge funds, and there's around 70,000 different companies and institutions that trade. The rest is just individual traders in the world, right? Or it's like 200,000 or 20, one of the other. But still, that's still not making up the other 13 million people in the world. So there's a lot of people that are trying to make money off of trading, and they see these breakouts and they act just blindly. So these people are getting wiped out, right? And that goes back to the psychology part. The people that got wiped out on these, they feel like they're right. They feel like price is going to sell. So when they lose, what do? Oh, I just lost on my sell, and price is now correcting, buying back up in their eyes. So then they place another trade. And then the markets take advantage of that and take them out, and then heads back down, which is the second move down. So all this is just price moving to collect money. It's all just collecting money and collecting orders. That's how I like to keep it simple. So if, let's say price is selling off, right? We know that we don't trade this. We know that this is merely price trying to get us to fall for the bait, right? And when we fall, or if we don't fall for the bait, it corrects. This is grabbing money on the people selling. This is grabbing money on the people buying, because a lot of people, they try to buy down here. Like I said earlier, price was selling. I'll be the person trying to slam in all the buys here. And then I would think I was winning. And me as a beginner trader, I would never know the close. So the moment that it comes back down, I think that it's just probably, oh, price is probably going to do this and go back up. Delusional, right? Because we already have so many things. So we already have the highest point. Price broke a low. Price made a lower high. This high is lower than this one. We have so many things telling me this is not a buy. This is most likely to sell. The markets is always going to communicate to you on what it needs to do or what it wants to do. We're just blind to what it's doing, right? So with that being said, I always tell people to trade back under these levels and always target these levels, because that's the level price is bringing the money back to. So once again, if price used all his money and it has $500 left to give, the market basically owes this level, right? It was $1,000 before. The market only had 500. It told this level, hey, I just ran out of money. I gave you my last 500, so I owe you 500 more. I'm gonna go back and collect the money I need to get, and then I'm gonna come back of what I owed you. So that goes back into my point earlier. Whenever you see a new high or a new low, just remember the market is owed at that level, and the price will come back to that level at some point in time because the market owes that level, right? Does it make sense? I'm not confusing anybody? All right, cool. All right, so with that being said, I try to keep trading as simple as that. Am I missing anything? But, okay.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know when the price makes an indication
Mhm.
and follows the correction and it goes above where it initially broke from,
Mhm.
right? So I've seen a couple of times you didn't wait for the confirmation to break below again to confirm it's rejected. So what factors do you consider to do that in your decision making?
So I know what you're talking about, and that's just purely off of price action. So ICC is indication, correction, continuation, which is most likely how people look at it is like this, comes back under this level and then progress. But there's times where you can do just based off of, let's say, an uptrend. Let's say we have this. Let's say here. Let's say price doesn't come all the way back here. All I'm doing, so kind of like that, right? So if price doesn't come back to the initial breakout level, the only thing I'm doing, even if we're just doing it based off the basic standards of ICC, all I'm doing is seeing where the correction ends and making sure this 1 hour time frame correlates before it gets back up there. So all I'm doing here is doing the same thing, but it's just not at that level to give me that confirmation. So I'm trusting the 1 hour and the 4 hour correlation to each other to kind of play through, if that makes sense. But here, if we're here at this point, if we get this type of setup, if price comes under here and comes back above here, there's no doubt that price is bullish because we've already had this reaction before. Now, what you will see is you'll see something like this, and this will kind of put it in perspective. So price comes here, we have that indication, we have that correction. If price didn't want to go any higher, it would make a lower high here and then go back down. It would literally make a lower high here and then go back down, which then would break here, right? And then, how would I put that? If price started to reverse, let's say price started to reverse and come back down, what could happen is this could overall be a correction for the daily time frame. So that's why it's always good to have all those time frames, because this high is still up here, right? So that daily time frame could be correcting for a bit. It can go down as much as it wants, and then it starts building back up later on, right? So it's always good to have that mindset of just pure price action, not just like, I'm waiting for price to come back to the breakout level. Like I said, it's easier to trade it that way. That's why I always tell people to enter on the breakout levels. But if there's a time where price doesn't come to that breakout level, don't just solely fixate it on waiting for it to get back to that level. Just look at price action, because that's just going to build kind of your tool set of just price action in general. So there's times where you don't even need, there's times where you probably don't even need this initial indication. So let's say a price is just on a trend in general, right? Price is on a trend in general, and then it comes here, and how do I even put it? Let's say there's like because it only has to happen when there's like a low or something over here. So let's say we come here and we're trying to enter a trade here. We know if price is breaking this low that there's no more buyers here. So the next level of buyers would be that next low, if that makes sense. So there's times in the market where you don't have to wait for the ICC, right? But it has to make sense with what's going on. The only reason this makes sense is because we're breaking a low. A low we know is a buyer level. If we're breaking it, that means sellers have more control. So they're only going to have control into the next level of buyers, right? Because it's trading. Trading is sells into buys. So when you have a sell order, you're taking it to buyers because they're the ones that want to buy it from you because you're selling it. And if you're buying something, you're trying to find somebody that wants to have it and you're trying to sell it to them, right? So that being said, whenever we are kind of thinking literally just like that, keep it simple. Whenever you're trading, you're literally seeing price break out of the level of where buyers are at. You're selling it to the next buyer. So even when we're TPing something on like a whole, like, let's say ICC thing, it's still the same way. I got to explain every single way. All right, even the same way, when we're buying price back up to this level, we're taking it to where sellers are at. Now, the thing that people get confused on is when it does break this level, right? For some reason, people still get confused here. They're like, well, what do I do from here? What you're in is a new indication. And by this point, remember, we're not supposed to be trading indications. So everything past this is at your own risk, right? But you also can take and play that it can do whatever as long as it doesn't break structure. So when it comes to holding trades, it's really about trusting yourself and being able to trust that higher time frame to continue to do what it needs to do. But remember, if it is doing this new high, with this new high, it can do whatever it wants from there. If it wants to reverse, it can, right? It doesn't have to continue to trend because it just already finished it, right? It can do something completely different from here. So I got it. That was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of different scenarios. I try not to overwhelm people because like this is like the basics, like what I'm saying with the whole ICC part. This is the basics of it. But literally the indication, the correction, the continuation. This is a higher high. This is a higher low. This is a higher high, right? Vice versa. If I flip this around, right? So when it comes to pretty much how I trade, I just stick it to whatever the structure time frame or the structure is giving me.
When it comes to like learning and taking information from your videos, what videos would you recommend we should go through, and where should we, extract information?
I wouldn't miss any information, to be honest. If I was you, and there was like, I don't know how many videos I have now, I would just watch all of them. But I would say what my best thing is, how I said about processing things, I would take the course that I have made. I would learn one video, study it for a whole week, just that one video. So that way you can understand what a trend is, because I'm pretty sure that's the first video. And then for the next following week, you can understand what an indication is. Next following week, what a continuation or correction is. then what a continuation is. And then from there, it should take about right around a month and a half. And then by that point, you have everything, you can make a game plan from yourself, and then you start practicing. And then as you start practicing, you can start to point out what you're doing wrong and doing right. But I would practice only on live markets. So that means like take your practice account into live markets because you need to understand what your routine needs to be, what time you got to wake up for trades, what time you got to enter trades. You need to know all the information that you can get. So like, let's say if you are just now practicing, your first things that you should know is risk to reward, what times do you trade, what are you trading? What was the other one I said earlier? Oh, profit factor is also going to tell you a lot. Am I missing one? Oh, time of day, average hold time. Am I missing one? No, I don't think I'm missing one. Yeah. Yeah, those are going to be all the ones that are very important, especially time of day and your duration of trades. Those are going to be the best ones because it's going to kind of tell you what kind of trader you are. And when you kind of know that, you know what to progress into. So if you're a scalper now, but you want to be a swing trader, and you can see that, hey, you're holding trades for 5 to 15 minutes, you can try to extend the trade out to 20 minutes and start trying 30-minute holding, and then 1 hour and try to progress from there. But you need to have that like set path on where to start. But I would overall say that all the videos I would watch, but I would watch them in like week increments, and then take notes, write them down. But yeah. I wasn't gonna take questions, but
So you know if like price breaks back past the indication level, but then consolidates, right? How would you approach that? Would you just like wait for it to break back down?
if it consolidates, that means that it just made a no trade zone. So if it did this indication and then consolidated, that means it just did something like this, which then we would just redo that.
No, but it's still like at the indication level.
But if it was still here consolidated, you would still do the same thing. Because it consolidated, so it's not breaking highs or lows, which then you would just have to restart this whole thing again. So let's say, let's kind of do it in your, the way that you was explaining. So if it was here and started consolidating, you would just have to restart all that over again because it just lost all that volume. So you don't know which way it can go from there. You need to have a clear direction on which way it can. Because even here, if it breaks here, we still don't know if it's going to go high or not. We still don't know if it's supposed to be going this high, going this low, whatever the case might be, because there's nothing over here anymore, right? Because that indication just got lost. So we need a new indication so that way we can use it. That indication is to help two questions, because a lot of people always have that indication and correction answers two questions. Where do I put TP? Or where do I put stop loss? That's the only thing that indication and correction is going to do for you. Where you put TP, where do you put stop loss? And I still to this day, this is the part I never understand because I say that and then people ask me in my DMs, where do you put stop loss, bro? Bro, I've already explained it. So,
Stop us again. Not really.
above lower highs and below lower higher lows. I guess we're taking questions.
Thank you for your time. Question, I did speak to a combined. And you changed styles. What made you change? I was advised as well, because I saw an indication, got that consolidation. And then let's what made you change your minds and styles, because let's see what happened.
Got you. So, if I can remember correctly,
Wow, indication to be applied.
so for me, oh, no, I'm going to. So for me, I'm pretty sure we had this on gold. Gold was kind of making equal highs at this level. Price came down to this level. And I was looking for, I think we was overall looking for sales in general below a level, but then price ended up making a higher low and then kind of rejecting towards like, it was like something like this level right here where it started making that higher high and higher low level. So in my head, I was like, going only based off what I was seeing on the 4-hour time frame. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna just go with that because it just made a higher low. So I'm trying to catch it before it even breaks out to the upside. So when I got into that trade, and I got into that trade all the way up here, before it reached this level, the 1-hour time frame started going back on the downtrend. The 1 hour was not correlating with what the 4-hour was. So then I got out because my 4-hour and 1 hour started going against each other. And I don't want to be in a trade where both time frames are going against each other. So if you look now, that price is sold off. The 1 hour and 4 hour looks exactly the same on trends. So they're both on downtrends.
What's the possible time? So I was at work, so I don't know what to do 1 hour, not correlating to 4 hour, which is why I stayed in the bind and got stopped out.
Yeah, so for me, what you could do to avoid like situations where you're not on the charts is setting alerts. So let's say if you are setting alerts, so at the time that I seen this trade, and got into this trade, I pretty much was already in the trade and price was going up. But as the 1 hour was moving up, I was setting alerts on those higher lows. And I was looking for price to continue to go higher because overall, that trade that I took wasn't even a good trade because overall, I only had this higher low. I didn't have anything else to really say that I was going to buy because,
It was a week though, it was a 4 hour week.
because you know what it was though? It was all that consolidation throughout the week and it was equal highs here where I kind of got impatient and I just wanted to take anything. So I went with this and I was like, oh, I'm just good with that. Like I said, I still make mistakes. I'm glad that I was able to even get out of that trade because it ended up selling off and doing what I said at the beginning of the week. I got a little impatient. I think we was already into how many days? I think we was already into like 3 or 4 days and I haven't placed the trade. So I was kind of like crackhead and not. I should have just waited for this because overall this was a no trade zone. We already had the indication. I was just kind of playing it with whatever I seen off bat, which I should have never done. Another question?
In terms of actually executing the trade, placing it, how do you know if it's crossing, from the indication? How do you know if it's coming back down to that indication of where it got the previous level before? How do you know it's not going to bounce off that level? Or
Because-
do you actually place the trade on the 15-minute time frame or the 5-minute time frame that goes wrong?
So if price is breaking this level for the second time. Normally I wait for price to be a bit up below that level. What some people can do, because I kind of have that instinct to kind of like trust the trade. The price already made, because whenever you're getting into this trade, it's coming off of a lower high. So I'm kind of trusting this lower high to really pull through on what it needs to do. But if it helps, what you could do is you can go to maybe the 15-minute or 30-minute time frame and wait for a closure under here if you want to. But what I ran into when I used to wait for closures was that I would kind of be all the way down here before I get into the trade because it would close all the way down here. If price is breaking here, and especially when it's a bunch of volume in the market, so New York session, London session, sometimes this is gonna take off because there's nothing else stopping it, right? Remember, this is where buyers are at. So the moment price is under the level where buyers are at, it's kind of just gonna take off to the next level that it needs to go to. Because there's no point of waiting around here anymore because it's already broke those levels. It's already beat all the buyers, so why am I still sitting here, right? So what I could say is you can wait for candle closures, or you can kind of just give it a try of just placing placing trades when price breaks under these levels and seeing how it plays through. But remember, if your stop loss is above here, as long as everything doesn't break above that level, you're still good, right? Price can sometimes give you a scenario where it breaks a little bit, comes up a little bit, and then goes back down, but it still didn't break structure, right?
Is there anything that helps the decision making of the charts that you know? From onto the charts.
Decision making off the charts. Yeah, a little bit. I don't know like exactly. It's kind of like going to the gym. You don't really see exactly the whole progression of it. But I started to see that the more I was patient with things, the more things come to light. That was something I have focused on when I was pretty much getting better at my decision-making skills, is kind of sitting back, taking in as much as I could. And once I felt comfortable with whatever I had thought in my head, I would make it then. So it's more of like, even now, I sit back with a lot of thoughts. I'm an overthinker too as well. So I sit back with a lot of thoughts. I'll be like, does this make sense? Does this not make sense? If I feel more comfortable with this, I'll go this route. It's whatever I'm comfortable with, to be honest. So I would say for you, if you're not comfortable with something, keep thinking on it until it makes sense to you and then make the decision. Even when it comes to trading, sometimes you might not be 100% with a trade. So then if you do get into a trade, like let's say, for example, for me, if I'm 99 or 98% comfortable with a trade, I still won't take it because that 2% is still like bleeding in my head. So it's going to be always that what if, like how whoever you just said that, what happens if it breaks and then goes all the way back up? Then that will just be leaking in my head, but I don't want that thought in my head because then that'll make me fearful of the trade. It'll make me go less on my lot size or contract size, whatever the case might be. It might make me do different things. So what I would also say as well for anybody and everybody, when it comes to building patience or building that kind of like confidence on just waiting and being like overall patience, what I would say is what you could do is, for one, there's like different apps that you can use to lock your phone or hide your phone or trade on another phone. But for people that have a hard time waiting, what I would say is if you do have a laptop, if you do have another device, put trading only on that device, but only use that device when you're home, right? And you obviously not always going to be at home when it comes to some of your trades, but this will kind of help you build that discipline on not taking trades, because then as you start doing this habit, it's going to kind of get you to see like, oh shit, maybe I didn't have to trade that day. A lot of things we have to go through before we actually visually see it. Like I'm a person that learns based off of like, my mom would tell me the stove is hot, but I got to touch it just to like, like, is it really hot? Like, so sometimes you got to do something and it doesn't always have to be bad, right? So when it comes to being able to be patient for trade, sometimes you just got to restrict yourself from trading to see that, oh, today I would have traded if I did have my phone on me, I would have traded today, but I seen that me not trading today helped me preserve my capital, right? Sometimes you have to do things like that to actually see, and that's just overall what I'm talking about with this whole psychology and mindset thing. Some of the things I'm saying, you're not going to understand until you actually go through it, right? A lot of things you're not going to understand until I go through it.
Yeah, just kind of fun question, but like when you make like those big trades,
Mhm.
the big wins and stuff, like does your broker like pay you out all the time and like
Yeah, of course.
quickly like even like a bigger
Depends on what the payout is. Anything over 5, it takes normally 2 days. Anything below that takes probably 5 to 8 hours. Nothing less, nothing more.
you trade on your phone or you trade on laptop?
I trade mostly on laptop and I check my trades on my phone.
Okay.
Because normally I'm on the go, but I always trade based off my laptop. I don't know why, but I feel like whenever I do my analysis on my laptop, I have like a clear vision. I don't know. When I'm doing analysis on my phone, it's like everything's crunched up together. I can't see anything.
Before the psychology part of the training, when you originally started, did you watch any videos to help you, or did you watch specific people?
For trading, no. I would say for trading, no. Don't watch psychology for trading, because remember, you as a person has to get better with your mindset, not just about trading. Because you need to, or let me put it this way. You want to be the future you thinks in a certain way, but it's not always going to be about trading. The same way that I perceive or just overall think and have my thought process is how I do on a day-to-day basis. Like that's how I talk to my friends. That's how I make decisions in real life. So it's like, don't just solely look for trading psychology. Trading psychology on YouTube is more of like, oh, bro, like stay away from like the generic shit. Like, oh, don't trade multiple times. You know what to do. All these. But when it comes to human psychology, it's a lot different. From the ways that we look at money, the ways that we look at our situations in life, it's always going to be tied up into how we feel and who we are as a person. So let's say, for example, when it comes to psychology towards money, right? Money is something that people are self-consciously attached to in their head mentally, but they don't know why they're attached to it because they never dig deep into that. But the moment that you remove yourself from that attachment and you don't treat it, so we don't try to hold it up as a higher power, because if you hold money up as a higher power to yourself, if you look at it as a high value thing, you're gonna overall look at it as like your God almost, right? And then you only live for that, right? So it's the same way with anything else. You don't want to only look for psychology for trading, because that's going to be all you know, right? So pretty much what I would tell you is go and look more just human psychology, things that you struggle with. So take whatever you're struggling with. How do I get over the psychology of greed? How do I get over the psychology of um, selfishness, all types of things. There's so many different doctors out there that's on YouTube. I don't remember, I'm gonna probably post it. I'll talk about it on YouTube, but I do watch this one dude. And he talks about just psychology of everything. It's just some bunch of stuff, but it overall gives you a perspective of how humans think. So the best way you could learn psychology too is even having friends and listening to their conversations and the way they think. Because remember, you're trading with people. There's 14 million people placing trades, and there's only like around 23 personalities in the world. So out of that 14 million, everybody's got to be the same, right? So there's only so much you have to learn when it comes to psychology because it's always going to be the same thing. Like how I broke down, sorry to keep prolonging it, but how I broke down how when price breaks out, there's going to be a lot of buyers and the reason why they get left out. And then how there's going to be people that will literally get in from the breakout. They'll get in on that breakout. They'll lose and they'll get into this and then they'll lose that. Right? That's all psychology. That's how people are thinking. Because you as a beginner, you probably would have traded that breakout. And then if you lost that breakout, you would have tried to trade that buy back up. And then even then, you would have been trying to buy. Lost all that, blew your account, and then your whole trade is right there plenty. Right? And that's all just psychology. Right? So.
Two questions, sir. Before we get into the which one would you prefer, top or personal? And to add on to that, if it is personal, what do you recommend you should risk per account, like no per trade, sorry, like what percentage of your account should you risk?
Yeah, so I do get that one a lot. Me personally, I came out or I started trading when there wasn't prop firms. I have a story where it kind of showed me how prop firms can destroy you the same as live accounts. There was this lady that DM'd me and she told me that she was trading like 70 accounts. She was on her 71 and she was finna buy another one. She told me like, oh, it's okay. I've been only trading for 2 months and I've already been through 70, but 71 won't hurt because it's only $20. It's only $50. And as I think about that, I also know how when I first, cause like, I didn't tell you guys cause like it was gonna prolong the story, but when I was attached to kind of saving money in the beginning, I wanted to see $1,000 in my account first, like my actual bank account first, because I never visually seen that because I never saved up to get to that point. So I did that first and it took me 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks. And then I saved up to 3,000, which took me another 4 weeks. And then I put that 3,000 into trading and I was like, this is my 3,000 that took me 2 months to fucking build up. I got to make sure everything I'm doing is perfect or it has to be right and make sense because I'm not going to do another 2 months of work just to lose all my money. Right. And that's how I look at trading my live capital. I always look at it as like, it just took me X amount of time to make this. It better take me X amount of time to lose it. So if it took me 3 months to make it, it better take me 3 months to lose it or more. Right? Because a lot of people, they'll get in, they'll take it, and they'll lose it in 5 days or less. And now you got to work another 3 months just to get all that back. And that goes back to the people that know what they're doing and they still go against it. And you're just setting yourself back more and more. When you could have just, like I said, that guy earlier, he built 1,000 to 7,000. And then he set himself back all the way back to the beginning. And now he's got to do, it took him 3 weeks to do it. Now it's going to probably take him 3 extra weeks to do it again. Maybe more because he's probably upset and all types of different emotions towards it. So now he has to do it again. It might take 6 weeks this time. The more you do things against yourself, the longer the time goes. So if you did something and it took you 3 weeks, the next time is going to be 6. You make that mistake again, it's going to take you 12. That's why there's some people that trade for 5 years and they're still going through the same thing, but they do the same thing or the same problems and they're just prolonging it, right? So, and just to kind of add on to that too as well, I like to tell people that you want to treat your whole journey, like you want to treat your just life in general as like a book, right? Your life is a book. Your name is your title. The title of your book is your name, who you are as a person on the outside. You're going to go through chapters in life. You have to go through chapters, right? You cannot skip chapters. If you ever read a book, you can't go from chapter 1 to chapter 12. That's not how that works. You have to go through every single chapter. And in those chapters are details and there's sentences in there that make up that chapter. So every level that you go through, you have to go through it for a little bit before you get to the next chapter. right? There's not just one sentence in a chapter and then you're on to the next. So every level that you cross, whether it's scaling up, whether it's getting rid of a bad habit, whether it's elevating your mindset, it's going to take a little while before you even get to the next chapter. But when you do, you kind of already have that story and scenario in your head of what happened in the past. So now you can move on to the future, and then you can move on to the next chapter and next chapter. Yeah, that makes sense. But I'm super big on mindset. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it. Maybe because they don't know, maybe because they don't want to, I don't know. But mindset plays a big part of everything. It's super strong, even down to like, we talk about all the good, but there's people out here that kill themselves because of trading. It's a lot of people that kill themselves because of trading. Just recently, I seen on TikTok this girl's husband. She didn't know he was trading, and he killed himself, right? And then now she's by herself with her kid because the whole time he was struggling with trading, and she didn't know, and he lost all the money, and then he ended up killing himself because of it, right? And it's all because of mentally, right? That shit's gonna make me cry. I don't even. But it's like a mental battle upstairs because once again, I do this because like I'm here. This shit cost me fucking $5,000 to get this, $6,000 because we had it for Thursday, but they recharged us because they couldn't do a refund, all types of stuff. But I'm here because there's nobody else that's gonna sit up here and do this and give some type of knowledge or some type of wisdom so they can see you in a better light, right? There's people out here that probably need our help and probably need our wisdom or our guidance. Even if we're not where we want to be, we can still provide some type of value to the world. And there's people out here that just need a little bit of hope, right? Well, just a little bit, not even nothing crazy. When I was homeless and I was 16 and I didn't have nowhere to go, I wasn't really looking for my mom to really save me, but I'm glad she did. But I was just looking for just an inch of hope because when you have all the things backed against you against the wall, it's like, what do you really point to, right? Where do you really go? And the whole thing of this is just to kind of bring everybody together and kind of show everybody like, yo, we're all in the same boat, right? Like we're all doing the same thing. We've already stepped out of a line of like doing the standards. We probably got family that don't believe in us. We got friends that don't believe in us. Hell, I had like when I was 18, when I first started trading, I made an iMessage group chat. I put everybody I knew in there, my friends, my family. And I would post my charts in there. They used to call me stupid. They used to call me a nerd. They used to call me all types of things. And now look where I'm at. And the crazy thing is, I always bring this up, but one of the people that bullied me for it, we hang out with him just for the fun of it now. Like we bring him around when we go out to parties and stuff, and we be like, yo, what's good, bro? Even though in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, you didn't believe in me. Now look at you. So even down to that, like, I just want everybody to take this as not like, I don't know what y'all are looking at it as, but I want everybody to kind of even as we leave, or we're not leaving yet, but as we go and as we start to, leave out of here, I want everybody to get each other's phone numbers, get each other's Instagrams, and make friends because these are going to be the people that understand you more than anything, right? Your mom, your dad probably might not understand you, or your friends might not understand you, but these people are going to understand you way more than anybody. And these are the people that you need to surround yourself in. So that goes into my next lesson, which is not trading. Now it's more about life because life is very important because I knew somebody that made $4 million off of some random crypto. Two guys, right? Two brothers. They made $4 million off of some random crypto back in 2023. And this is right over time I was kind of progressing in my trading career. And I just remember them making it, and I was like, dang. I was like kind of jealous a little bit, but I was like, whatever. And I just remember all this happening, and they didn't really have like a true skill, or they didn't really have like the actual mindset they needed to have. And I kid you not, 6 months they blew that $4 million on Airbnbs, luxury car rentals, and vacations and everything with no type of skill, no type of game plan. And I just remember when he was down to his last 25K, and he was like, bro, I need to try to flip this in trading to get back to where I was, and all these different things. And that just goes to just me telling you guys that trading is one, yes, it's about making money and trying to make money, but it's also maintaining, right? I've talked to a lot of people that run hedge funds, run banking systems and stuff like that, that has told me that trading is not always about money for us. It's always about preserving it, because clients are more happy if you don't lose money than you trying to just lose it, right? There's days they'll go with If they made $0, they'll be more happy than seeing their account at negative 1,000 plus, right? So when it comes to trading, yes, we get the structure down right of how to make the money, but now it's about maintenance, right? Maintenance is always going to come from discipline and emotional control, which is what I've been talking about all day, having that emotional control. So as we're maintaining, what I would say is have a game plan of what you're trying to do with trading, right? Because I'm gonna say, for example, me, when I made my first 10K, I spent that shit in the mall. And if you would have asked me before I spent it in the mall, I would have said, bro, I'm gonna help my mom, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But when I actually had it in my hands and I had it, it was like, oh, I can do anything, right? And that's what's gonna cycle through your head. I don't know if it probably already happened. Like, I'm pretty sure y'all probably hit 500, 1,000, 5,000. It was like, dang, I could do so much with it. But even then, having that mindset that I had back then was super dumb because I wasn't focused on what if something happens bad, right? Because I'm a firm believer in if everything is going good, it can go bad quickly, right? And if everything is going bad, it can happen good, right? So I try not to get too carried away when I'm winning or scaling up because it can go away instantly, right? There's times where you probably had a win streak and you got super happy and you was like unstoppable. Trade took you out and took everything that you won, right? Or there's some times where you was on a big losing streak and then you was like self-doubting the trade and you was like, fuck it, I'm gonna still do it. And it happened to be one of your biggest days, right? There's a lot of things that come into play when it comes to mindset, but overall that mindset is gonna lead you into that maintenance side of things, maintenance side of trading, the being able to be stable, right? Because becoming a full-time trader, so working a job and being a trader is already 10 times hard. But when you turn into a full-time trader and all you do is wake up and trade, it's a whole different ball game because then there's so many different things that leak into your life. So for one, friends, but also two, the act of feeling like you're not doing much, right? I kind of run into a thing all the time where I feel like I'm not doing much with my life. Even though I'm trading, there's days where I wake up and I'm like, damn, well, what do I do now, right? And then you got to go find things because I'm be honest with you, the day in the life videos that you see on YouTube is not everybody's day in the life, right? It's not. They just pick one day to do a bunch of shit that looks cool, and that's it. We don't do that shit every day, right? You're not doing, bro. There's no way you're telling me you're partying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's not a day in the life, right? That's just the highlights, right? So when it comes to waking up on a day-to-day basis, it's really trying to figure out what you got to do with yourself, having the plan. Like for me, I didn't really have like a plan for myself, but then like a friend told me to do YouTube. I was like, okay, so now I'm doing that. But then it was like, well, yeah, this feels kind of like a job. I'm gonna still do it though, but what do I do now? Because YouTube takes a couple minutes, a couple hours to make, pass it on to editors, whatever the case might be, and then this is what else is after that. Right? So as you get into trading, you start progressing. Remember that you have to find hobbies. You have to find a purpose, right? You have to find something else to do with yourself with that, because trading is your car, right? I could do trading until I'm 60. You can drive until you're 65 until it's over with, but until you can't really think about driving. But trading is going to be your car. It's going to take you to the destinations you want to go to. If you want to go down this route, you can do it. If you want to go down this route, you can do it. I picked up so many hobbies throughout the past, 6 months. And it just goes to show that trading can be more than what people think it is. It's just like, oh, sit on the charts, make money, and go. I don't even know what people think trading is used for anymore. Bro, I actually don't know. But make sure that when you are trading, that you are building some type of other hobby, right? And I'm not the person to ask when it comes to investments, because I feel like trading is good enough for me, and I feel like it's a good point for me. But my mom always be on my ass. She'd be like, make sure you invest, make sure you invest, make sure you invest. I personally don't invest in stocks and stuff because I trade it, because I trade gold. So it's kind of like I don't want to put my money towards that. So I put my money more towards, I guess you could say, like real estate things or towards something like this, right? This is kind of like my investment for myself because I know later on there's going to be a bigger community. We're going to host more events and more. That's kind of how I look at it. Just kind of like a nonprofit almost. So those are things that I like to do, right? You might do something different, but find things that you want to do. Find things, even right now, you can do it. Even if you don't have the money for it or the time for it, find those things that you want to do now. So that way you can write out lists on how much it costs or how much you need to do this or how you can do this, right? Traveling is one of my biggest hobbies. I travel a lot. The reason why I travel a lot because I feel like mentally it helps me clear my head, but also again, when I was young and I was growing up in foster care and I didn't have that box, I was stuck in a box and I didn't know too much. I feel like me traveling kind of expands my brain to think more, right? So I've been to places like when we was in Cape Town, where not even Cape Town. Let's give another. Where was I? I think I was in like Istanbul, Turkey, and there's some places that look absolutely horrible. And it just gives to say that you got to be thankful for the things that you have. You got to be more mindful when it comes to people on the streets, or all different things that traveling has brought me to think clearly of, and just kind of overall expand my brain a little bit more than what, oh, just America. Because in America, well, y'all guys are in London. I don't know why I'm talking about it, but in America, it's just like luxury this, car this, house this, and that's it. And parties. That's how I look at it. It's all the same shit, right? But when I travel overseas, it's different cultures, communities, like all types of different things that expand my mind to overall help me think more, right? I probably would have never did London if I didn't go to London before, right? And there's some other places on that list that I haven't been to, but I'm open to see what it's like because there's a different world out there. Not everybody has the same things as us. And that's what brings me to this point where I'm like, this is a hobby for me, or this is something I want to do because it helps me in the long run, right? I'm not boring you.
First of all, I just want to thank you so much
Mhm.
for your generosity because people really pay lots of money to attend such a seminar, but you're bringing it out so soon. But just a question of two. I was listening to you which this lecture about mindset and psychology.
Mhm.
And I'm just wondering, I've never thought of writing a book.
Thought of writing a book?
As an individual.
I've never thought of writing a book.
And there are some books you can recommend that you explore in this case for some of us to read. For some, we may not be Gen Zs who get things very deep.
Oh. I would say I don't. This might sound illiterate of me, but I haven't read too many psychology books. I'm more of like a. I kind of watch like the seminars they host for class, but on YouTube type of thing, where they're like on the chalkboard and they're like marking up.
The psychology of money.
Yeah, Psychology of Money. I've never read that. I've seen that book a lot, but I've watched a lot of seminars off of YouTube, to be honest, or like animated videos and stuff like that. Because I'm more of like a visual learner, so I have to see like everything written out and it has to make sense and animated to me. It's kind of weird, but that's kind of how I like to learn. So I would say probably psychology, psychology studies on YouTube. If anything, I don't have any books that I could recommend there. And I personally, I've never thought of writing a book. ChatGPT it. But yeah.
Knowing all the issues that affect the country like psychologically, what would you not consider doing algorithmic trading?
Like the bots,
So
that just takes the fun out of trading. That takes the fun out of trading. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't do that. Oh. All right, cool. Any questions for me though before I get into the next part? Extremely new. How much is extremely new? A month in? Okay.
Would you say with the moment in time shift and that yeah, this is going to make you slash?
That's a good question. I think it's kind of silly, but I was walking back. So I used to trade like a very complex way back then. And I remember clearing my charts one day and I was coming back to my computer from getting water. It's so silly, but coming back from my computer, getting water, and I just remember looking back at the charts and seeing like a clear blank chart, and I was seeing like, and this is when I was day trading too. So I was like, I literally was like, wait a minute. And I started going to the charts and I started marking the highs and lows, and I was like, wait a minute. Price is kind of going in one direction, but I used to trade every day in each direction that I could find. So I think from that day, when I switched over from completely trading the way I was trading to something super simple, I kind of think that changed for me. The moment that everything clicked, it's really bland there because I don't remember exactly what day, but I kind of switched over to trading complex to simple, and that kind of like gave me like a whole like renewal in trading and kind of gave me like a fresh air, like a breath of fresh air. So I would say probably the day I made it simple for myself was like the fresh air for me.
Hi, so you talked about the psychology and we're doing numbers. We hear we shouldn't aspire to. So if you hear the average, if one say well, then needs to make X amount of money, you're using crazy numbers. So could you please explain how you systematically scale from the small account to where you are now, how you have to maintain it, even though you're paid to crazy numbers?
I mean, when it comes to, I can visually show you, but when it comes to scaling, I think when people think of scaling, they think it's a bit harder because like you're dealing with bigger numbers. But if you gradually go into scaling, like just like inch by inch, it's like the numbers is just math. So let's say if we start off with $1,000, right? If we're looking for a 1 to 4, we're risking $100. So I'm a person that risks 10% because if I risk 10% and I hit a trade, that means I make 40% or more. Because it's not always going to be a 1 to 4. It might not be a 1 to 4, it might be a 1 to 3, but that's 30%. So then that will be $400. So if I'm going throughout my trades like this and I'm taking maybe 1 to 2 trades per week, so if I'm doing this once or twice a week, so let's say twice a week, this will be $800 every single week. And that's pretty much 80%. And if I keep doing that, there's probably going to be some losses, but this risk to reward is going to cause it to where even if I do take this loss, if I take this loss, I'll come out with 300 instead of 400. And mind you, the market moves however it moves, so it might give you more than 400, right? It might give you 600 one day, or 700, or 1,000, or it might give you just 300 that day. But if I stick to this and make sure this is not broken, so I'm not just getting into this trade, winning 800 and being like, oh, I'm 800, so I'm just going to automatically start risking 500, right? If I don't, as long as I don't do that and I maintain, then when I do, let's say if I get to 5,000, right, just by doing this, right, 400. So that's probably around 8 trades, almost 9 trades almost, to get to that 5,000. So I took right around 10 trades, let's say 10 trades to get to this 5,000. So now that I'm at this 5,000, I can gradually move this up. So now I can probably move this up to, let's say, $300 per risk, right? So that's barely a percentage to us, right? So with this, I'll be doing still a 1 to 4, and this time I'll be coming out with 1,200, right? And I stick with this. 1 to 2 trades of this, you're making right around what? 2,400, right? And you stick with this, right? And there's going to be times where you do get more than what you expect. If we expect this all the time, there could be one day where we get 2,000 just because the market moved more than what we thought, right? There's going to be days like this, and then you can up the risk because then from here, that's probably like month 1, month 2, and then by month 3, you're probably at 10,000. And then by this point, you can risk 1,000 per trade, right? It's just really math, but people are like, they're so like used to people. I don't know. All of it is simple math. The reason why most people feel like it's crazy is because they're taught to risk 1%, 2%. So their numbers are always going to be small. There's people that will have like a 20K account but risk $100. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, do you not want to make money or not? So with me, I'm always gonna risk 10% because that's gonna make you 40%. Right? If I was risking 10% on 100K, I'm risking 10K to make 40. I'm not even gonna write that out. 10K to make 40. And if I do that twice, that's 80K. That's 2 trades. There's nothing different. The only thing is the position size, right? Numbers doesn't do any, like, it doesn't do anything to your trade, right? Numbers is only just math, right? If you take 2 trades of 40K, that's 80K. If you take another one, that's 120K, right? If I'm risking a 500K account, risking 10%, I'm pretty sure that's right around, well, my math ain't math, or whatever it is. 50K? Yo, I had a long day, bro. 50K, 1 to 4, 200K. And you're only risking 10%. So there's no difference, right? It's all the same thing, just different numbers. But people overcomplicate. Like I said earlier, trading is always going to be a kindergarten level, but we overlook it as something complex. People complicate this, right? And once again, even if you don't win all the trades, this reward is going to save you. Even if I don't win this 50K and I'm down to 450K, sorry for my what you call it, but even if I lost that 50K, my next trade can make it back. And then I'll be back at 200K, I'll be at 650. Right? I'm back up again. So whenever people say, oh, bro, that's so unrealistic, this and that, I just look at them like, bro, you must not know how math works. So, but scaling up it's not as hard as people make it. Now, trying to move from risking $100 to 500 is always going to be hard because you're not used to it. So I would say gradually move into it, right? Try 200, see how you feel with that. And then once you start doing 200 a lot, then try that 500, right? Because for some reason too as well, depending on your account size will also make you feel a certain way. That's why I risk 10% or less, right? So now at this point, my 10% is not 10%. But if I was starting off, my 10% needs to be the same. So if I have a $2,000 account,
Wait.
wait, what? I have that in my head. All right, cool. My fault, y'all. All right, so even then, so risking that $200, I had to write it too. So that $200 that now I'm risking on this 2K account, it won't bother me because I know that's not 10%. But even if I was to go under, I'll still feel comfortable. But the moment people go from having this $2,000 account and then they try to risk 500, what are you doing? Because now you're risking 25%. What are you doing? Right? So why would you do that to yourself? And that's what scares people to scale up because they're trying to jump from what they're supposed to be risking to way more than what they're expected to risk. And when you do that, that just causes problems because you're not even used to these numbers yet, right? When you're risking 500 and price goes even a point or a pip out of your direction and you see negative $30, $40 off just one small move, you start freaking out. Even down to spreads, right? Because you got to put a certain contract size or position size. Even when it comes down to spreads, like I'm pretty sure 50 or 500, let's just say this. Let's say if you place a 0.1, right? That spread might be $7 or something. I don't know. Just making something up. But when you do one lot, that spread might be $15 just off a rip. And that's just to go into like, you know, there's probably the actual numbers, but you see how big of a difference? This is already double already. So you trying to go from this to this is going to be way scarier. So you need to start moving up. Okay, let me try 2 lots, right? Let me try half, right? Let me try 5, right? And then start gradually moving your way up because then you start being comfortable with seeing those numbers, right? If I gave you a trade and told you to place a 10 lot and the opening trade is you're already down $700 or $670, you're gonna be like, what the hell? right? And that's just off spread. Price hasn't even moved yet. And the moment price moves, you're already down 1,300, right? But you're not used to those numbers yet. So when it comes to scaling, you have to gradually do it. People mess up because they try to move too fast, right? It's okay to like somebody, and this is a common thing, but slow motion is better than no motion, right? The slower you take, the more comfortable you start getting with it, right? The same people that, he's not here anymore, he's not here. The guy that said he went to the gym, when he first started, he didn't really like it, but I'm pretty sure now he's doing more reps, he's spending more time in the gym. It's the same way here. The more you start doing these, you're doing the same 10%, same 10, 10, 10, 10. Then one day you're gonna be like, okay, let me add on a little bit more because I've been doing, 200 for a while. I've been doing it for a month, 2 months now. I feel comfortable with trying 500. I feel comfortable with trying, well, not 200 to 1,000, but gradually moving your way up. That's how you scale. And it's just math, right? No difference from anything, it's just math. 10% to make 40% or more, right? It's gonna be the same way if you're using 100K, 1,000, 2,000, $1 million. It's all gonna be the same thing because it's just numbers, right? They put numbers on your phone and make it seem like you have money. I feel like money is not, there's a whole thing behind the, like I have no attachment towards money because I feel like they just press numbers on a screen and it just pops up. It's like there's times where you'll go to the bank and ask for 20K and they'll be like, oh, we don't have it, or oh, you gotta wait X amount of time. But if money is something that I can get right now, how come I can't get it right now? All right? So I try not to think too much about the actual dollar amount and just overall keep it to the trade. As long as my trades are accurate, the only thing that's different is the position size. So when I am putting on a new position size, nothing has changed because, to be honest, the money that is there is just digits, right? It's not harming me, it's just digits. Yeah, of course.
When you're trading gold, do you DXY?
Wait, what?
When you're trading gold, do you use the DXY?
No, I don't actually. I used to do things like that when I used to trade NASDAQ, but I stopped doing it because sometimes you'll see one thing on the DXY and then looking at NASDAQ and there'll be two different things and it'll have you all thinking certain ways. So I just only look at one, so I only look at gold and whatever gold is saying, I just go with whatever it's saying. Because the moment I put something into it, it's kind of like having a conversation and then somebody jumps in and tries to see what's going on. It's like you don't really know what's going on if you're trying to hear both sides. So you talk to one person first, hear what that has to say and kind of go with that story.
It's just.
For me, the body close. The body close for me is kind of like a closed deal. So it's more of like, so let's say a price has like a closed candle, or let's say if it closes here, that lets me know that buyers have finally made the decision to stop here and push price up. The moment price has a wick, it's like sellers tried to come down here, but buyers here was like pushing up, but this is like confirmation that buyers were super strong here, right? Because this could have been just sellers running out of steam and then coming back up, right? But this right here shows that buyers stopped here and pushed price back up, if that makes sense. So I kind of look at closed candles as a closed deal, and this is where the max level of buyers are going to be at. This wick is just only showing me that it either got exhausted of coming down here or if buyers pushed it up from here. But even then, I can't truly tell if buyers are here because they closed here. All right. Yeah.
How did you put the Bitcoin for price?
Price made a lower high. That was it. I'm so dead ass. So Bitcoin went up to 124K, came down, went to 122, went back up to 121 again, or 123 again, and failed to make a high. So then I was like, oh, well, if price is at an all-time high and it just made a lower high, then I should be looking for this break of structure. It went back under 122 and I sold. That was it. And then it just happens, and it was, the crazy thing is, still to this day, people like argue with me about it because they're like, oh, like, no, it made a lower high, but it was really because of Trump. Trump only amplified it, right? The market was already showing what it wanted to do. Trump just gave it volume, right? That's how we treat, even with the US and the Iran thing. The market was already showing a bearish structure before it came out. It just needed volume. It needed something to go and make it run. Everything that happens, like news in general now, is really just going along. If you ever look at news and how it moves, like today, for example, like literally today, it was CPI today. Why am I looking at you like you know? It was CPI today. Or NFP, yeah, it was both. The news only amplified what the market was already doing. The market already had lower highs in the market. And news just amplified what it was going to do and gave it volume. So when it comes to that, it was just really because it made a lower high. I made a video today. I think it might go to 4,100. I don't know though. Yeah, because like she said, with the whole candle closure thing, it's a wick at 100 or 400 or 4,100. So I'm thinking it could go back down to that level, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to play it by ear, to be honest, because it's already broken daily time frame support. So there's nothing else holding it up. So from this point, it's really like, what are we going to run into that buyers are going to push back up price at this point? And it can keep going because it's on the daily time frame. So it can really just keep running down if it wanted to.
You still up right now. Do you keep your blood size like straight to the next level or something, or do you, does it kind of stop?
Well, you wouldn't think of the position size first. You would think about how much you're trying to risk, and then that's what position. So if you're risking, let's say, if you want to risk 10% at this level right here, if this from here to here is like, let's say 10 pips, then you would risk according to how much that 10 pips is going to be to you, right? If that makes sense. So if this 10% or if this 10 pips is from here to here, 15 pips, then you would lessen your stop loss or lessen your lot size there. That makes sense? No?
So like, if you set your stop loss right there, and it's like $100, say.
Is that your 10%?
Yeah, that's 10%.
Then you keep it that way.
No, wait, you want to raise $100, but it's $50 right there. So do you double the lot size?
Yeah, until it gets to your 10%. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna do an intermission right quick. I want you guys to congregate with each other, get to know each other. How many people is actually from London in here? Look at that. Because somebody came up with a good idea when I was in New York. He wants me to start creating groups around the world, and he wants y'all to have like trade-offs and stuff like that, little trading events. So congregate with each other. Give me 5 minutes. You gotta stand up though. Huh? Want another water? Yeah. You gotta stand up.
Can I get a picture? Is that okay? And second of all, so look, this was the consolidation, right? This is all, by the way, so for our while. So this is why.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like that.
Okay, that's good time. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
On me? Oh. Yo, chat.
Alcohol?
Yo, what are you trying? What?
Yo, Sai, bro, if you want
Gin and tonic.
Yeah.
Gin and tonic is crazy.
Your inspiration. Yo, we're just gonna only get this for Brandon though. Yeah. It's from my home side. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Can I pick somebody do?
Sorry, bro. Real quick. All right. So you know how like you use the 4 hour for like the turn? When you want to enter, right? Yeah, of course. Would you, for example, like here? Let's see.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah. Would you wait for like 1 hour structure or like 1 hour engulfing or something?
Okay, at the hot picture.
Right? Like for example.
Switch with you. Let you. Yo, chat. Yo, chat. What we saying? Chat, can you see me? What you saying, chat? Yo, chat. If y'all rock with me, spam a whole. Well, don't just spam one single 6. Do not put a whole bunch of 6s together. We do not rock with evil energy. Just throw a single 6 in the chat for me. I'm gonna give the mic back. Hold on. So my guy, of course, brother. My guy,
I appreciate it, bro.
of course, brother.
You know if that's the end of the seminar, or to do it more?
I'll find out for you. I'm not too sure though. Of course, sir. Are they spamming? Yeah. My members. Love y'all, man. It's love.
Yes, Stream Pigs.
It's okay, bro. Everybody needs to say a little bit. My guy.
Where's the finish? Hey,
I gotta take a picture of you.
Let's do it, bro.
I can't lie, I need a picture of you.
Appreciate you guys. My guy, appreciate you. My guy.
You from the same area he's from?
Yeah.
Yeah? Atlanta.
London.
Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. Yeah.
What's it like out there?
Let me get this thing.
Crazy.
1 second,
Crazy.
let me get it.
Can't lie, I'm pressed on a Lambo. I've never got
I didn't buy a Lambo, bro.
buy it?
Hell no.
You boosted it, right?
I rented it, bro. Trust me, when I buy a Lambo, y'all gonna know.
You still got that. What the fuck is it?
Still got what?
Huh? All right, cool. We still got to do the ICC on 3 and everything. All right, so what's up, guys? Wait, let me see what y'all saying in here. Look at this man. Look at the man behind the camera. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. We're out here in London, congregating with the fellow traders. something them other mentors would never do.
How do you feel?
Huh?
How do you feel when it's over?
It's going pretty good.
Versus that?
I'm kind of tired, but it's all good, man. We out here for y'all.
Okay. Brandon.
Yo, come on, let's go. Get everybody sit back down.
All right, Zach. It's on prison.
Got a question for me.
I've only been trading for a month. Yeah. Well, I've got a hat from, I've got a clothing line.
Okay.
It says Maison d'Or. That means House of Gold in French. So we put gold bars on all of our clothes because the idea is intrinsic value. It's not just about like t-shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is one of the hats that I've released. And on the hat you can put different patches. So you can like stick different Velcro patches. So I'm gonna give it to you.
Oh.
And what I want to do is I want to create your own patch.
Yeah.
So what would you want your patch to be like? Would you want it to be trading by side? Would you want it to be like take profit?
ICC.
ICC, yeah? Right, just, have you got a logo? ICC logo. Okay, so I'm gonna get a logo from Brandon. And I'm gonna
Or unmarked.
So you can hold that. So I've got a Kanye West patch just to show you how it works. So yours will be ICC, but you can change the patches. So you've got a certified lover brand patch. You've got a cool state patch. Well, I'm gonna make the ICC patch and you get it on the Brandon. And then, so yeah, you can switch out the patches as you want, you know?
Oh shit, that's hella tough.
You've got different colors, you've got black, you've got grey. You get me? So that's for you. That's a gift for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Please, go. Do it? Yeah. Hopefully I'll be loving the ICC.
Ah, you said you've been trading for a month.
A month, yeah. And then it's got like different. So switch that one off. Put that one on. Get me, so you can switch up. I'm gonna get an ICC.
Oh, cool.
And then you can, yeah, man.
I say less. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. Well done with your thing.
Thank you. Here, Brandon.
That's it.
Thank you.
One gem for a learner. For first part. I'm just.
One gem? Kind of gave for Jim.
You gave me the when it clicks for me. So you said you made the charts. So you said you made the charts super clean. But for someone that is again for me, what would you say go away and do from nothing?
Kind of build out who you're trying to be and where you're at right now mentally. I would say that do that first because that kind of gives you a head start above most people that kind of jump in and then they deal with a bunch of problems and they have to come back to where they should have started.
You say you want to be with in
kind of like
civil engineer. So I design buildings around the world. That's my thing. I design Heathrow Airport. So tell me your team when you guys came in, my name's on the note black about start. So I designed. So that's all. I've been doing it for 15 years. But getting into trading, what would you say? I know who I want to be, obviously, but what would you say is like, I don't know, like a concept or something that's really going to take me to
like concept as in what?
I mean, so I know you
Trading wise?
Yeah, trading wise. Yeah.
Say pretty much. I would say obviously. But anything, I would literally do what I told you earlier, keep it simple. It's trading in ICC, price action markets.
Yeah.
Alright, go.
So, we're gonna sit back down now. Just take a break. Yep. Just on a break.
Everybody, if you want to make our way back to the seats.
Huh?
They want you to have a mic.
Why I gotta have a mic, chat? Why y'all want me to have a mic? I said, where's the button thing that's supposed to come to so I can put it here? Yo, chat, why y'all want me to have a mic so bad, bruh? Just pull up.
We'll go all the way to 10.
Can I close it up in a second?
Right now?
Yeah, cool.
This one is out. Flip it inside the shirt. Here.
See what I'm doing?
I was gonna help.
My shirt got lint on it. Yeah.
Yo, I'll start up real quick.
Everything's good.
Yo.
Yeah. Ooh, ooh. I gave way more seats. You heard me? I said I gave way more seats. I feel like a real teacher right now.
We need one of these.
Huh?
We need one of these.
These? Huh? I feel like a real teacher. All right, cool. Y'all met each other? Y'all know each other? Y'all didn't do no congregating at all. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap today up with just a couple of words for traders in general. As we go through trading, as you go through your trading journey, there's gonna be times where you go through trials and tribulations. There's gonna be times where you go through obstacles in your life. I'm always gonna tell people to not give up. It's harder than it seems. Trading is something that, once again, is based off decision making and having emotional control. Like I told you, there's people out here that struggle with trading, sometimes commit suicide towards trading. Some people give up, or some people just overall lose themselves when it comes to trying to become a trader, which is in terms of trying to chase. The more you chase something in life, the further it runs away from you. The more you're patient, the things and opportunities come to you. Opportunities in life do not come to people that do not deserve them. So once again, when it comes to deserving it, you now probably don't deserve what you want. So you have to become the person that deserves it, right? The person that worked hard and did what they needed to do, that had the discipline, that had the routines and habits that opportunity wants, right? Opportunities are merely like kind of like people, right? If you want something to be around you, if you want good people around you, you have to have a good energy, right? But also it goes with to say that sometimes opportunities around you are not always your opportunity. There's times where you've probably turned X amount to X amount, or you had a good week or a good month, but then you lost it all, right? That's only because that opportunity wasn't for you at that time. Once again, everybody is a book. Everybody has their chapters, and there's always going to be an ending to the story, right? So with that being said, those opportunities that come your way, be sure to take them in and really be appreciative of it, right? Because us as traders, we can live the life that we want to live when we get profitability. We can do what we want to do, and just overall, kind of, have the life that we want to live. But we have to be grateful for the journey. We have to be grateful for the losses, the wins, because the losses teach you. The wins can also teach you as well. And as I'm saying this, I would tell anybody and everybody that as it comes to trading and you become profitable, is go help as many people as you can, right? This room, I can see people that probably want to help people, some people that don't want to help people, but I will always encourage anybody and everybody to help as many people as you can, even if it's, sometimes even just documenting yourself and then ended up sharing it is good for somebody else, because there's people that go through the same thing that you're going through. And when you find a solution to it, it's kind of like how if we found the cure for cancer, why not release it to people that have cancer, right? If there's people out here that struggle with trading, why not release something that could help them potentially in trading, right? So as I say this, I want everybody to leave the room and be like, well, this is going to be my fresh start. I'm going to start with trying to, build my foundation, find out who I am now, what situation I'm in, what type of person I'm trying to be, where am I at in my trading career, so I know exactly where to scale from. But also, as you do all this and you start to do all, pretty much build that up, you also need to track what habits do you need to do to get to that point, right? Because a lot of people are probably going to do the same habits. Even if I'm talking up here, you're probably going to do the same habits over and over that you probably already did before, but you won't change because the old you is always fighting yourself. And as you are going on this journey, you are, building those habits that are right and correct, and you start progressing, being able to maintain. So I'm just tying everything I've said back together, but being able to maintain. And I meant to cover this earlier, but the people in the room are going to be more friends to you, towards you, with you, than anybody else. There's people all around the world that trade too as well, so the other cities and stuff like that. But in London, these are the people that are closest to you. These are people that could be potential partners, potential friends that could help you with trading. Somebody might go through something that you probably need help with, and you might help them with something they probably need help with. That's why it's always good to build a community, right? There's too many like solo people out here, right? It's good to be solo. It's good to be a fucking Batman sometimes, but sometimes you need a, you know, a sidekick, right? There's people out here that have bad discipline, right? But what partners help or what community helps is accountability, right? A lot of us, it's hard to take ourselves accountable because we think we're right all the time. That's how we always think. We think that we're right. So when it comes to being wrong, sometimes we don't see it. So you need somebody to tell you to do so, right? Or somebody to tell you that, hey, you're wrong, right? Or, hey, that's not the right thing to do. There's times where I wish I had somebody tell me, no, don't place that trade. You know, like when I saved up my 900 and I did it in one trade, I wish I had somebody tell me like, yo, you should think about your decision before you do it, right? That's why I want to build a community. And also that's why I want all of y'all to build communities and build different things out here. And once again, this doesn't mean go charge a course or whatever, because I see people take what I say and then go sell it as a course. I don't want that, right? I want ICC, whatever you want to call it. I want it to be something where anybody can come into it. It's free. And if they want to learn and if they can learn from it, they take it and they run with it, right? Everything that I'm saying, I want you to take it and run with it. And maybe next year we do a London event and we're out talking to the people, right? In the streets or whatever, if we can even do that. But just even then and there, like my vision for this whole like us versus them tour is just to show that there's gonna be people that want the worst for you, but then there's also good out here, right? Because there's like not a lot of good in this world at all. There's like literally barely like, it's so, you know, it's so crazy. It's so much negativity that the moment something positive comes up, people don't believe that it's positive, right? It's so, because like they think that like, even now, you know how much hate I get because I do this, they think that it's another objective of it, right? But I truly just do this out of the love of the game because I used to be in the same predicament. You know how hard it is only having $200 and you're trying to learn how to change your life with trading, but the course is $1,000 and you don't know for sure if it's going to be the right thing that you need to do, right? You don't know if it's like what you actually should invest your money into because you don't know what's inside of it because it's locked, right? So I know what it's like trying to become from a beginner trader to now. I know what it's like, and I know how hard and mentally draining it is to even try to get better in life. Sometimes we have people that go against us, friends and family that go against us and don't believe in us. And then in the end, you prove them wrong, and it's like, you didn't believe me in the beginning, you know? And this shit makes me emotional because it's so, the world is so like fucked up, you know? Like sometimes it's fucked up. We get fucked up cards, we get fucked up situations, all types of things we might not control, things we can control, or some things that we knew we should have never done, but instead we did it, but now we put ourselves in a worse predicament, worse situation. So my advice to anybody and everybody out here would be always to take this trading thing to the next level. And it's not just money-wise, take it to impacting others, right? Life, how I look at life is you're more valuable if you impact people. You're way more valuable. You can have as much, there's so many people in this world that have money. There's so many people in this world that have a lot of money, but they have no impact towards the world. So it's like, what are you really doing? Like, you're just living life, but then it's like, you go by on the streets on a day-to-day basis, and there's somebody that you could probably say one or two words to and change your life. If that lady never told me what she did for a living, I wouldn't be here, right? If I never reached out to my mom, I wouldn't be here. There's so many different scenarios where even just a small couple of words could change somebody's life, right? So you have to remember that as you are trying to progress as a better person, better trader, better entrepreneur, whatever you're trying to be, you have to understand that there's other people that you can help just by giving them a simple knowledge, simple wisdom, right? It doesn't have to be sitting up here like I'm doing and talking for hours. It doesn't have to be that. You could talk to somebody for 5 minutes. Hey, on the streets. Hey, in the room, right? Y'all can create events here in London, right? That's what I would suggest. Create events in London. Meet up. Go help others. Show people that trading is possible, right? Because a lot of people look at trading as a scam, right? And I wouldn't blame them too if I see, yo, bro, look at my Lamborghini. If you want something just like this, $5,000. Hell no. I wouldn't believe it either. And with that being, yo, that's so crazy because that's like literally like word for word. But as I'm saying all this, I just want everybody to leave with that and just kind of go out with a clean slate. Like I want you to kind of leave this room with, like I know you can't redo everything, but kind of start fresh. Like even down to journaling, right? And journaling isn't just like, I don't know how y'all journal, but how I would journal is writing my thoughts on throughout the day, like literally. So you don't have to buy one of these, but what this does is it tracks my health, but also it has like a daily journal of the things that I do. So if it like, what did I eat today? What did I do today? Did I get on a plane? All types of different questions that it asks. And it takes it every day. It asks me every day, what do I do? And the days that I have, let's say good recovery days or good days where I put a good amount of activity in, it basically lines them up of like, if you did this today, your outcome of your day is most likely this. Does that make sense? So what I would say, if you're journaling and trying to track your progress through the emotions you feel, what you're doing and the things that you're putting time into. Because as you start to do day by day and day and day, like if you do it every day, by the end of the month or even 2 months, you'll see like, oh, the days that I'm the most happy, I probably did X, Y, and Z. Or I did the days that I felt the least motivation, I didn't do X, Y, and Z. Those things are very important. You have to dig deep into yourself because we all deal with things inside. I still deal with trauma from, being homeless and not having my parents and all these different things. Because now I just met my dad like a year ago, actually. And it's so crazy because, and I'm going off topic, but it's it's so crazy because now I'm in a position where I'm at now where it's like me and my dad are like at this weird standpoint because I don't know if he's here for me or if he's here for Sai, you know? So it's things like that that deal with yourself, like those small things, like those are emotions and traumas and situations that can really take hinder towards you, right? In anything and everything. It's not just about trading. I know, like I said it a lot, but trading is like the car. It's just the car. Your emotions, your feelings is the gas, right? That's the gas that you got to put in the car. If you can't control the gas that you're putting in the car and it's all over the place, there's not going to be gas for the car to move, right? So with that being said, thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate it a lot. And let's do ICC on 3. I don't know. I don't know if I'm trusting that.
It feels pretty safe.
Feels 30. Y'all know how to do this?
Y'all want to do it? Like y'all just sitting around. All right, come on.
Get over here. Get off here.
My phone or camera?
I got this, Toyin. How the fuck? He said stop shaking, bro. All right. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
ICC on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yo, you ready? I do a backflip.
I don't know about that.
Do a little pictures.
Yes. All right, can we make a line? Let's start the line.
Where's the camera guy?
Over here.
We know we don't have to do, but really appreciate
Gentlemen.
it. Also, I got the craziest trading story.
Damn.
I started trading back in 2022. Then in 24, I took 5K to 50 in a week. I was trading on the medium market, right? And after that, Raj's broker just started taking all my trades.
Sorry, thank you so much for coming out.
Crazy.
You got it? Thank you.
Like 5,000. Yo, it's good.
Man, so I appreciate you, man. You know,
To learn about Rihanna, bro.
oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
There's a line.
Yo, Brandon.
I jumped the feet. My bad. Take care, buddy.
I don't want this. Hey, how you doing? Where's the good food spots in London? Oh, y'all don't be eating?
Yeah, that's true.